shut. Fans turned down to 2. Gets hot.
Yeah, no, you're good. It's PC life.
Awesome. No headphones, so we're good. This is off the cuff.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for the coffee, by the way.
Yeah, hell yeah.
All right. It's a long time going.
Yeah.
Yeah? How you feel? A little weird? First time on the podcast?
It is.
A little weird?
I mean, listen, 2 years ago, I retired from Publix, and, you know, our backroom conversations of, you know, UFC or just life in general.
If there's anything, like, any person I wanted to talk to that could kind of roll off a cuff, off a podcast would be you. Because, you know, like, it's smooth, you know? A lot of people you kind of got to, like, you know, you can kind of feel like a conversation die, and you're like, okay, now what's next? Kind of deal.
Yeah.
With you, it's just, like, rolling. I think it's because we just have a lot in common, like PCs, comics, and all that. Speaking
gaming,
of, you thought I was lying. I wasn't lying.
I did, yeah, I know. I look over here. And
I wasn't playing.
This is one of my favorites right here, Court of Owls.
Yeah. What an OG.
I've got the mask box set, so I actually got the Court of Owls mask.
Yeah, I remember I seen that. Yeah, you could hang that up for your stream, like in the background, if you ever like, you know, kind of display that. I got one more picture of Batman I want to get. I have yet to figure out the triangle, on that background there. It would be nice. But then speaking of Batman, the movie.
Okay. Yeah.
Robert Pattinson.
You know, I always take everything with, like, you know, for what it's worth, face value, and you just go in if you think everything's going to be great, you're always disappointed.
100%.
But if you go in thinking that it's going to be bad and it's
okay, I don't know about that one. I don't know about that one.
Listen. It's not always bad, right? Or it's not always better than what you expect. But, you know, I mean, really, other than, like, Twilight, I can't even probably name a Robert Pattinson movie. Right? I mean,
yeah, apparently he's been in, like, a lot of indie movies. I haven't seen him. I'm not going to say I've seen him. But apparently he's been, like, in a lot of indie movies that I literally have not even, like, seen, that really kind of, like, made him, like, grow as a character.
I gotcha. Yeah.
But I think the best thing I ever heard from it was, like, you know, Robert Pattinson played. We all know him from Twilight. Let's cut to it.
Yeah,
you know,
course. Yeah,
and he gets a lot of shit from it, and you know, I get it. I gave him shit too. But if you look at it honestly, from the character that he played as I forgot what was his fucking. I don't remember his main character's name. It's been so long, but he played a person with a fake life. Went to school, essentially, had this alter persona, completely different living style. Cannot go into sunlight, right?
Yeah.
Had a whole other family that did the same thing.
Yep.
And had a complete different life and had that mysterious kind of, like, vibe to him. So, realistically, if we're thinking, he should be a right fit, right?
You're right. And I think also, you know, if we're debating on who's the best Batman, a lot of people would probably say Christian Bale was one of the best ones.
I don't think he is.
No? I mean, Michael Keaton's up there.
Keaton.
There's a couple up there, right? So I think that his build is more like theirs, right? Kind of like the taller, skinnier, you know, where the last Batman, Ben Affleck. Listen, I like Ben Affleck, but...
You don't like Ben Affleck, bro? I love Ben Affleck, bro.
I just feel like he's like this
too big,
short,
you think?
stocky.
Yeah, I can see that.
Too big.
I can see that 100%. You know, there's some animated movies that have that as well, though. Like, I believe Batman, the actual original, which one it is when he comes back, it's Batman Dark Knight Returns.
Yep.
The actual Dark Knight Returns, when he has, like, that weird, like, Joker posse kind of, but it's not like a Joker posse. He's, like, very old and bulky and short and stocky. Yeah. But I still didn't even like it like that. So I can see why, you know, because now if you look at the animated, like, Batman's like, he's tall, he's lean, he's yoked, he's shredded. You know, and I kind of like that too.
In most books as well, you know, he's got that tall, lean. There's a couple where older Batman looks like he'd gained some weight, and you know, and the one where he fights Superman and, you know, pretends he's dead, and then at the end he's, you know, maybe I shouldn't ruin the book for people.
No, fuck it. Fuck them, bro.
I mean, it's an old ass book, but
100% it is.
You know, he is that short, stockier guy. So if they were going for an older Batman, maybe, you know, like, hey, I'm retired, but I have to get back into this. But no, as far as, like, Batman, I just feel like most people see him as, like, a more taller, lanky.
I believe it 100%. Like, he's definitely above 6 foot, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I would say that. He's above 200 pounds.
And here's the thing. If you look up Ben Affleck, dude's 6'4".
Yeah, dude's tall. He's just got a dad bod almost. You know, he's got the beard. I like Ben Affleck.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I think the Batman's better than the Daredevil he did. Also, at the same time, I know I'm gonna get a lot of shit for this, bro, and I mean it though when I say it. I like Ben Affleck's the most, not because of his like style of look. Okay. It's the darkness it brought, like him being like over the edge, you know, because people think of the Batman like as like this fucking superhero that never crosses the edge and never gets close to it. Batman teeters on that line. Yeah. Like any day he can jump off and really just go downhill. Sure. And there's alternate universes that show that in different comic story arcs and all that stuff. But he is always on the edge. There's a reason why Dick Grayson decided to leave. There's a reason why a lot of these people in the storylines are like, you are dark, Bruce. You are never gonna, you say you're different from them, but are you really? And that's why Joker and him have that such like a great connection. Because they're literally the same. Just Batman hasn't fully committed.
Cross that line.
So that being said, I like it that his story and the director that paced it at that time, depending on which movie, if you're looking at Justice League or whatever, was very dark, and I liked it. I genuinely liked how dark it was. And come on, you can't tell me the scene in the warehouse, Batman vs Superman, when he comes up, bro, with the batarang up the fucking floor, sticks every gun, blows him up, shoots his grapple gun through a guy's leg, pulls him up, bro. Like, tell me you're not getting mad Arkham game vibes.
You're right. All right, so wow, there is great scenes in some of these movies, and I don't know. It's just a tough subject, Like we could sit here and talk about all these great scenes, all these great movies, right? Like who's the best Joker, who's the best Batman? But I mean, it's really just it's opinion, and
So who's yours? You would say Christian Bale?
I would say Christian Bale more just because I thought the movies overall were better.
Exactly, and I think that's what it needs. You need a great actor and a great director to really bring the movie out. Yeah. And I'm not saying it was bad. I really enjoyed that trilogy, and I think the way they ended it, I think it was great. I think it was fantastic. A couple things I didn't like how they portrayed about Batman. I get it. It was towards the first movie was like his up and coming, like I'm coming out. Really not like that. Yeah. I think Robert Pattinson that we're gonna see, he's gonna be that true. That's what I think is unique. Is it's a different form of Batman, and believe me, like a lot of people are like, oh my god, it's not. No, really, it is. Because this is why you don't see him as like that playboy, how you say, philanthropist, out. Yeah, he's more like, I'm a lay low. He's new. Yeah. This is Batman year one kind of vibes deal. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's what I like, from the Robert Pattinson. We didn't really get that in that first movie, which is okay. Yeah. But just the pacing, the directing, and that's the first time we've seen Christian Bale and all that stuff.
And I think they just had a lot more characters in the Batman arc than what most of it. You're talking about Ra's al Ghul was in it, Joker, Bane.
There was a lot more like how do you say
lore,
paying homage to like a lot of these like characters,
Yeah, I definitely know what you mean.
So definitely, I fucking agree 100%. Yeah. I think you don't want to say because you don't want to commit, but I think you're like, you kind of have hopes for this Batman movie.
I do. Like I said, I go into everything with just like a blind eye. I try not to listen to what people say. Oh, Robert Pattinson is, he's just a Twilight guy that can't act. And, because if I go in there thinking that way, then it distorts the movie, right? You go in with a filter and you're like, oh, this is going to be a shit movie because, Robert Pattinson's in it. And then you watch it, and then if it's okay,
you're like, all right, it's not that bad.
You're like, okay, well, now it's not that bad, but then you got to really rewatch it again because you're like, well, now I need a different filter on because,
Exactly. So, and I think a lot of people should do that. Yeah. I do that a lot. Like tonight, I'm going to watch the Spider-Man movie with my sister and my girl. Yeah. We're going to go out. We're going to watch it. And I can guarantee you that's not going to be the only time I'm going to watch it. I'm going to watch it two more times in the movie theater.
You have to.
Because the first one, you're kind of getting the hype out, especially if you're a fanboy. You kind of get that. The second time, you kind of filter out the biases that you have. Yeah. And the third time, you're really critiquing the pacing and after that. So
exactly.
That's why I'll watch a movie before I give a review.
And especially with like the Marvel movies is... where does it fall into the Marvel Universe? How does it work with the Marvel Universe? You have to watch the shows, the TV, or, the shows, the movies. You have to watch them all multiple times or you're lost. I mean, you're lost. I mean, I'm shaming myself because, like, I have only watched WandaVision.
I didn't hear anything good about, like, really? WandaVision. Did you like it?
I'll tell you, you have to get past the first 4 episodes.
Everyone fucking says that about a fucking
It really is because...
You have to get past the episodes.
Well, no, that's not
slow.
true.
It's a slow build up.
No, because you have no idea what the hell's going on.
True. Okay, that makes sense. You know what? That makes sense because that's the same thing with Loki. Yeah. You know. So go ahead. I get it.
So have you seen WandaVision? I don't want to ruin it.
No. Okay. But you can spoil that because I'm not gonna watch it.
No. Okay. So what it is Wanda pretty much has this like crazy relapse, right? Yeah. And she traps this town in like a bubble, and she is controlling every single person with like telekinesis.
Yeah.
So she remembers watching TV shows, sitcoms throughout the years. So each episode is a different decade, right? You start in the 50s in the first episode. So you're like, wait, it's black and white.
That makes sense. Okay.
The second episode is 60s. Then the 70s start to come, and that's where the color starts to twinkle in.
Got it.
And so forth and so on.
Okay.
What's really cool about WandaVision is after like the first 4 episodes, you start getting characters that weren't so big in the movies that come together and like they really do good in the show. So you're talking about the intern in Thor.
Okay.
You're talking about the cop that learned the magic trick in Ant-Man.
Oh my God.
You know, you're talking about Captain Marvel's best friend's daughter. She's in the show.
Wow.
So you're talking
So they're bringing back like a lot of like kind of like people that we kind of like through the movies?
Yes. Yeah,
okay, that's kind of cool.
Or just like, you know, kind of creating this new, right? Because after Thanos, where do you go with it?
Yeah.
Right? Okay, you got the Eternals. You got Loki talking about the guy at the end. I haven't seen it, but I know he comes out at the end. I can't remember who it is, but the bad guy.
I've never seen it and you know that. Who spoiled it for you?
Junior, thank you for spoiling it for me. All right, Russ. He's the guy that works for me.
Actually, hold on. I have a comic I want to show you. Give me 1 second.
Sure. Damn, you see how he did me? He just leaves me in the room alone.
Actually, it's in here. I'm sorry.
Look at that. He don't even know where his shit is.
I don't even know what's going on. I wanted to show you this because, oh, right here. See that I haven't did because I keep it low key. I don't want to open this, but you're bigger. You seem like you're a Superman fan.
Oh, okay.
So that one I think was given to, mother-in-law kind of who recently passed, and she was given that from one of her exes when they were a little bit more serious, and that pretty much just got handed to me. I think that's when Superman dies. I believe when he dies by a doomsday. I think that's the issue. So I haven't opened it yet. I don't know what's going on. I'm not a big Superman fan. I am a big DC fan, but never been like a heavy comic reader. So I don't know much.
I'll tell you, in my older years now, I don't read a lot of single book comics.
Okay. So you buy the whole arc.
Yeah. So like the graphic novels where all the issues are together.
Yeah. Like that makes sense. That's kind of being functional. That makes sense. A lot of people do that as they get older.
I don't really keep up with like, oh hey.
Well, I didn't know if you're a big Superman fan. Okay, cool.
I'm not, but I mean, I would assume.
I don't want to open it. I kind of want to figure it. It's like $100 on eBay, but it's eBay. You know,
it does say Superman number 75, so I'm sure you can find a copy of it somewhere. With fold-out splashback cover.
I know, dude.
Dude, I mean, this looks like I wouldn't open this shit.
I'm not opening it.
I wouldn't open this shit, but I mean that's pretty legit.
Okay, cool. I just want to get an opinion on it.
Yeah,
cool,
yeah.
Awesome. We'll see
hell no. Yeah, don't open that. You know.
I don't know if I want to like frame it or what, but like I never expected to like get like into comics like heavily, but as you can see, like I fucking got into it pretty hard. Definitely not a big Marvel fan. I gave it a shot. I do have some Marvel favorites. Like I have the Civil War 2 issue. Gave that a shot. Enjoyed it. I have some Deadpool ones. I bought that Thor one. I'll show you that later. It's just like a rare issue, I guess. I don't know. It was like $80. I was like, I'll just hold it, let it invest a little bit, you know. Yeah.
I will say I agree with you when it comes to like reading material. DC by far beats Marvel.
Oh, 100%.
In my opinion, right? I think the characters are just better.
Yeah. 100%.
Right? You know, I mean, nobody beats Batman. Nobody beats Superman. You know, it just doesn't happen that way. You know?
Like nobody.
Yeah, and what's cool about these characters is they can be written in so many different ways.
Yeah.
You know, you get into Marvel, which I'll tell you by far the Marvel movies,
the MCU, Marvel has it to a T.
Yeah.
You cannot knock it. Anybody who says Marvel isn't good, you know, in the movies, you're dumb, because there's a reason why they're the number one.
Yep.
I watch them, I laugh, and not every movie's gonna be exact to the comic, and like they're gonna have their own twists and turns. And honestly, I don't want to sound like that big conspiracy guy, but there is a lot of you can do your own research, but there's a lot of backed up research you can look into that other countries have influences on our movies.
Sure.
Like China has a huge influence over the Marvel MCU. Like people don't know that. Well, and that's why a lot of these like things get reverted. You know, like
well, you're also talking. You know, Marvel is now owned by Disney.
Yeah.
You know, and even with their deal to use Spider-Man from Sony for a couple movies, it makes it easy for them, right?
Yeah.
I mean, who doesn't watch Disney movies? I don't care how old you are. You
100%.
I mean,
and that's what, when you have a kid, you understand, like, when you watch, those means like you're kind of a kid for a little bit, you know?
Really
like
you kind of live vicariously through your children,
yeah.
You know? So, or in my case, you just kind of use it as an excuse, you know, to watch the movies. But, you know, because I tell you, I'm a huge Disney.
Yeah,
Disney You know, I mean, I love Star Wars. I'm a huge Star Wars fan.
Not as big as I should be into, but I did love The Mandalorian.
The Mandalorian was good.
It was very good, actually.
I you know, politically, we won't get into politics here because, you know, I mean, unless you really want to. But politically, there's some things that happen amongst the real life actors that.
Like what?
So the character Cara Dune.
Cara Dune, who was that? Which one was that?
Cara Dune, she's the rebel fighter that he meets on the planet.
And brings her there? Oh, is that the one who got fired?
She got fired.
Or she quit? I don't know, like this weird.
I can't tell you for sure, but I'm pretty sure
what happened with her? I literally try not to get in politics with my movies. Like I try not to.
Yeah, for sure. So,
but I'm willing to know.
You know, right now there's a big thing with censorship and Twitter.
Okay. Yeah,
and
of course, yeah.
Really, like, nobody wants to be that company that allows things to happen, right?
Of course.
So she was a big Trump supporter, and she posted some things on there pro-Trump, or, you know, just
voicing her
opinion, with the freedom of speech, you know, we got it. And she posted one thing, and I wish I had the tweet or did a little more research before we talked about this.
It's okay.
But she talked about, she compared something to either the Holocaust or Germany.
Oof.
And it was just a comparison.
That's a big oof.
But it was, from what I remember, it was not a bad comparison. Right?
It's not a bad comparison, but is it kind of like out of pocket in a way? Like, whoa.
People try to stay away from that, right? Like, how can you compare anything to the fucking millions and millions of Jews that were killed, right? You just can't, you know, unless you want to talk about China and the way they're rounding people up right now.
Like,
and,
you know what you remind me?
So,
it's kind of like how people, like some people like from the LGBT community, I believe I said that correctly, who say, no, it's that one skit that Dave Chappelle did. He goes, we're fighting for our rights, and he's like, I know, and he's like, you know, they're holding us back like they held you back. He goes, no, slow your roll. It's kind of like it's not the same, but it kind of is the same.
You know, they don't. You know, people try to stay away from the Holocaust stuff. You know, and I guess because she posted some pro-Trump stuff, Disney had given her a warning and told her not to post any more stuff. But you know,
it's kind of fucked.
Freedom of speech.
It's kind of fucked. I can kind of understand why there'd be some issues there.
So
okay, I had a kind of understanding that happened.
But I think the problem is, right, and sure, if Disney wants to can, because that's their policy. Hey, we gave you a warning. We told you to do it. The actor who played Mandalorian, Pedro Pascal, I think his name is, posted the same kind of shit.
And he didn't get the shit back, did he?
Get the shit because it followed their political views. You know?
What do you mean? Like, wait. You say the same shit as in like he was a Trump supporter?
No.
The opposing end?
The opposing end. He compared Trump's campaign and stuff to the Holocaust.
That makes sense. Yeah.
But in like a worse way.
Yeah.
You know?
But he got away. And I can see why she would get upset probably.
Yeah, well, I mean, just people who support her. You know, I mean, listen, our First Amendment gives us the freedom of speech.
No matter what.
Doesn't matter. I don't care who you support, what you support, right? Like, why... I have different views than some people. That don't mean we can't be friends.
Exactly.
It doesn't mean like, I may call you stupid, but it doesn't mean and you call me stupid for the same stuff. But,
I mean,
on the opposite end, maybe not you, but just in general, people shouldn't lose their jobs because of things they've said, unless it's like a threat or, hey, I'm going to do something bad to you, like those kind of things. Like why is somebody getting canned because she posted on Twitter about somebody's political views, right?
I get it. I could get why you're upset.
I mean, I'm still gonna watch it.
I think Disney has a huge influence over people like that.
Well, that's it, and that's, everything has to be, social justice warriors. Everything has to be politically correct nowadays. Nobody's feelings can be hurt, or we're all gonna die because of it. Like,
speaking of, for the people who don't know, Gary served.
Yes, I did.
Go ahead and tell them.
Yeah, I was a Marine. I joined in 2011 and got out 2015. Deployed to Afghanistan. I loved the Marine Corps. I felt like I was a good Marine. I think the big reason I got out was I had a daughter, and I just wasn't spending enough time with her.
Typical service shit, man.
Why
is that a common thing?
What's that?
You understand that's like a very common thing.
What, to get out, or
no, to have a kid and like halfway through your tour, like at some point before your tour.
So my now ex-wife was pregnant with my daughter when I joined the military. So she was actually born while I was in boot camp.
Okay.
So, it was honestly a driving reason why I joined.
Oh, okay.
Because I was, at the time, working at Publix, good old Publix, and I was making $8 an hour, $8.50 an hour, right? How do I support a family off of $8 an hour?
So you did.
So
how old were you? Like 22, 20?
I was 19.
19, sorry. Yeah,
19. So I was 19.
So you said, fuck it.
And I said, fuck it. I needed to.
You want something for longevity. You want something also. Because let's be honest, a lot of people who join the military we all know military makes shit pay in the beginning for a while. Yeah. Okay, it's why you rank up. It's why you make more money. Yep. But it's after.
It's more of the security of it.
Exactly, it's the after part of it.
I know that every 1st and 15th of the month I was getting a paycheck.
Yeah.
When you're married and you live off base and you have, housing allowance and stuff like that,
especially when you got a kid on the way, this is stuff that puts ease at your mind.
Medical insurance, you just can't beat. Now, mind you, poor old TRICARE isn't the greatest, but you don't have to pay for shit. Your leg might fall off, but you ain't paying for it.
I have a buddy of mine who kind of did the same thing. His name's EJ, and he won't mind. He was a really good friend of mine, and kind of not the same thing, far from it, but we've been friends since middle school, and he just like wasn't able to like figure his niche per se. Just a gym bro. We made a lot of money on the side, helping. Great family man. And then he just said, "Fuck it, I'm just gonna join the military." And that's what he wanted to do. Then he said no, and then he's like, "I'm gonna do it." He went to Army Infantry. He's stationed in Louisiana.
Okay.
And then he met a girl. Adopted 2 kids that she had. They're married now.
Wow.
And now that he has that, he was going to come back. His contract was up. He was like, I'm done. I'm out. I'm coming back to Florida. I love Florida. I'm going to buy my parents' home.
Okay.
Whatever. The market's so fucking crazy right now just due to COVID and everybody coming to Florida now. Like, people think like Texas is getting it. Florida's getting it as much.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Like it's the whole like housing market has gone up. Yeah, so he's like, I can't afford a big house because he wants a nice house for the kids.
Of course.
So he said, fuck it. I'm gonna re-enlist 3 more years.
Dang.
I'm gonna go to Washington, right? And I'm gonna get housing allowance. I'm gonna get all this stuff, get a house there. If I like it in Washington, I'll stay after that. Or I resell, come to Florida. But now he might have to go to tour, and all that shit. So we'll see what's going on with that. But kind of same thing, got the kids on the mind.
Of course, yeah. I mean, speaking of like people moving to Florida, I mean, it's just crazy, right? Like, I mean, here's what baffles me, right? Is these states that are, listen, however you feel about COVID, whatever the vaccine.
Listen, man, I want to make something clear before we even move from here.
Yeah.
From the podcast, from the get-go, my number one mission is I do not give a shit what you think, as long as it's not racist.
Oh yeah.
As long as it's not. This is for anybody and ever. This is more for the audience. I don't give a shit what your viewpoints are on anything, as long as it doesn't physically call action or harm on somebody.
Yeah, of course.
Or it's racism that obviously shouldn't be allowed. Now, your term of racism may be different. Mine is pretty clear cut because I've seen racism. I've dealt with racism. I know what real racism is. Okay. So therefore, you don't ever have to say, I don't know what your views are. Just tell me how it is, and we're good.
Okay. All right. So with the vaccine, right? I feel in my heart that the reason why I'm so against it is just honestly just because it's mandated. Right, and I hate to feel that way, right? Because, like, listen, again, we just mentioned I was in the Marines.
Of course.
I mean, who knows what the fuck they stuck me with, right? I mean, to be honest, I mean, listen, you go down the line and you get shots after shots after shots. You know what I mean? There's a penicillin shot that you have to rock out of your ass, like, you know,
100%.
Who knows what they stuck me with? I get the flu shot every year just so I get my Publix gift card, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Right? I don't give a shit. I think why I'm just so against it is because it's so mandated. Right. And I think, you know, with a lot of people moving to Florida, that people would see in other states that the mandates just don't work. People don't want to be mandated to do something. Right. You know, it's funny because, in my opinion, the same people that want the shot mandate are the same people that don't want to be told that they can't have an abortion. It's my body, my temple, but you can stick a needle in me because you tell me to, right? It's the same side of the coin.
I think that's very, very close to the majority, but not the majority.
Okay.
We won't say the majority, but we say they're the same people who would say that.
Yeah.
Also have that same. So it's almost hypocritical, is what you're saying.
Exactly. Yeah. For me, I just feel like
that would be on both sides.
If you don't want to be, if you don't want to be told that, hey, you can or can't have an abortion because it's your body, then why should I be told that I have to get a shot?
Exactly.
Because it's my body.
All right. So
and the same thing. Listen, people are going to say the same thing about me. Is if I'm against abortion and I want to tell you that you can't have it, then why am I not for shot mandates? So it's the same thing. And I think where people come down with this stuff is a little religious, right? Because morally, I can't be for abortion because that's in my morals, it's killing a baby.
Okay.
Right. So I can't support it. Do I give a shit what you do? I really don't give a shit. If you want to go and you want to, have an abortion, by all means do it. But I can't vote for somebody that's going to blatantly.
I can understand that. So I think a lot of people are like that. Saying like, personally, you do not agree with it.
Exactly.
But I don't give a shit.
I don't give a shit.
If that's the way you want to go.
Exactly.
But I'm not going to partake in the voting part and to agree with that.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
I would say, generalizing the majority, saying that people who are pro-abortion and then telling you, at the same time you need to stick yourself with a needle is a strong generalization.
Well,
but I think you're kind of you're kind of there. Just to clarify, there is a lot of people on our side or on either side, who are both kind of hypocritical, and humans are generally hypocritical. It's kind of what we are. We hold our own biases to that way. But I will say, I generally am the same way. I come from a Latin culture where abortions are very frowned upon. If more for religious reasons. And they're in a religious aspect, you're killing life no matter what.
Exactly.
Growing up, I could agree with that and be like, okay. But once I hit my teens and once I started kind of hitting my early 20s, I was like, I really don't give a shit what you do. Because who am I to tell you what to do?
Exactly.
It doesn't harm me. Now, there's a weird line when it comes to that because people are like, well, you're in control of another person's life, so therefore you are, harming someone else. I understand. So this is weird where we're talking religion, we're talking science, and then at the same thing. I honestly, and I generally mean this, I didn't see a problem with the current standards that we have with you have a certain amount of time, to handle your business, and then after that you shouldn't, because it meets science and it meets morals in a way. Now depending on there's different studies that show really a woman can't tell. There's always going to be weird situations where someone doesn't you've seen the show. There was a show I remember where it was I was 16 and I was pregnant and I didn't know. Women literally didn't know they were pregnant until fucking 12 weeks or some shit like that. It's weird. It's legit. It happens. I understand. I generally think we were at a decent fine line. The kid could we extended the weeks? Yes, and I would have been okay with it. I don't understand why some of these countries have ruled it out because you know, you're taking that option away, and at the same time, you're doing the same thing that we're doing the same thing essentially almost. They're doing the same thing we don't want to be done to us is be mandated on a shot. Sure. You know, it happens. You know, I know a lot of people close to me in my life, excuse me, who have, you know, gone the abortion route. Mm-hmm. Do I look at them differently? No.
Yeah.
Do I understand why they did it? Yes. Would I have done it? No. But, you know, it is nice knowing that there was an option to get out of that because, you know, there was a time in my head, you know, because we all fuck up sometimes and we all, where you're like, oh shit, I think I'm going to have a kid. Yeah. I would be lying to you if I didn't think like, well, there is this route. Sure. It's an option. Yeah. But I wasn't going to go that route. But at the same time, a lot of these people who have these are circumstantially cannot and are not fit. So, you know, there's an option for adoption and there's an option for abortion. And I think those are two great routes, whatever you may. To me, as long as it doesn't affect me, I don't give a shit.
That's it, right? Like, I'll tell you, I'm more of a libertarian in most of my views where I'm going to live my life the way I want to. And whatever you do, you do.
As long as you're not look at you physically harming me.
John over here don't eat meat, right? I think that's weird. Like, you know, we're trying to kill the cows for the methane in the air, and he's over here freaking eating tofu.
Yeah,
you know,
I'm eating tofu. I'm eating tofu.
No, nothing against vegans. All right, don't roast me for this.
Trust me. No, like, I think you could agree. Like, most vegans are not like me. Like,
no.
Nowhere. Like a lot. You know what's funny? A lot of people that I met through our like line of work at Publix. You know. So many people were like surprised. Like no one knew I was vegan till like I kind of like let them out. They're like, "Wait, you're vegan?" Because I'm into guns. Yeah, you know, most vegan people aren't into guns. You know, I'm actually, you know, pro hunting. A lot of people are hunting. I don't mind hunting your own food. You know, in that way, I think it's more controlled. I think there's more appreciation. I don't mind that. So a lot of people are weirded out on it. So I don't know. It's just like, so, you know, I'm kind of like easier to joke around with that kind of stuff.
Views with those. You know, it's interesting because we stereotype these things, right? You know, like just like being a vegan. Well, what's the stereotype for being a vegan? No, you're soft. You don't even, right? But let's, you know, I know we're going to talk about this a little later, UFC probably, but, you know, like Nate Diaz is a vegan, right? And I remember
Vegetarian.
Okay, excuse me. Sorry, Nate. Don't come beat me up, right?
I think he's over pescatarian or vegetarian. He's not a full vegan. I know that.
See, I don't even know the terms for these things.
I know. There's too fucking much. I get it.
So, you know, he don't eat meat, right?
Yeah, he doesn't eat red meat. Let's put it like that.
Yeah. Okay.
He could eat red meat now. I don't know, bro. Like, there's a lot of, like, I try not to get too deep into this shit, you know, because I really don't give a shit what you eat. I do give a shit, like, if you're telling me or like you're saying, like, I give a shit to an extent depending how it's being delivered and what you're saying it's good for. Yeah. But for him, you know, he's all around good guy. Yeah. He knows what he wants. It's for his body. That's why he went vegetarian. I believe he introduced meat again. I believe.
Okay. So I know there was an interview. That's why I bring it up. There was an interview where he's, you know, taking questions from the media, like, you know, all UFC fighters do.
Oh, was it when it was at his press? Was it when it was at his press? It was
at a press conference, and the guy goes, you know, how can you sit here and say you're tough when you're vegan?
It was, how can you say you're the baddest motherfucker?
He's like, I'm the baddest motherfucker in his room. Like, what do you mean? You know, like, so, yeah. I mean, that's, you have these stereotypes, but then you see like these people and you're like, hey, all right. Well, if Nate Diaz can do it, can't we all do it, right? You know.
Well, it's the same thing. You know, like a lot of people don't know who, you know, Kron Gracie is. Yeah. You know, Kron Gracie for the most part is I believe pescatarian, just eats fish. I believe. Okay. I don't think he really eats dairy. You know, like, listen. You know, we all know those dirty vegans, those dirty vegetarians who say like, "Oh, I don't eat cheese," and then like they take 2 beers and they're like, "All right, let's get a pizza," and you're like, "What? Hold up, bro. Wait a minute." You know, like you just, you know, you know. So I would say that's a majority of people, unless you're like diehard. Like for me, I say I'm a vegan. If you really look at me from like the vegan terms, I'm not, because there's still shoes that I buy sometimes that have leather, that have certain things. If I have an option, I'll try. Like I got gifted a pair of 2 boots because I'm going to Texas. You know, they're just decent boots, keep me warm when it's cold. It's nice. You know, adds a little height for a short man, so I'm always good for that. But they're leather, and I'm not gonna say, you know, get this out of my face. You know, I don't need. I'm gonna take it. You know, for the most part, my conscience is good because I know that I do not, you know, really like advocate for that kind of stuff, and I really don't eat meat, so I like in my head I'm like, there's a balance. So, but a lot of people are like that. That's what I'm saying. So, you know, a lot of fighters are usually try to go plant-based. You know, it's a little weird. It's a weird time right now because
I gotcha.
You know, there's diet, and I thoroughly believe it's really depending on your genetics. 100%. Like even when I was eating meat, I realized like there's certain foods I could not eat. You know, that my best friends who were like straight European.
Yeah,
they could just eat tons of and not have any. So, and I would, from a young age, before like this whole like diet war thing going on, I was like, there's got to be a reason for that. And I started thinking genetics. I'm like, well, his ancestors came from the Europeans, essentially. You know, they deal with colder weather, so realistically, he should be able to eat potatoes and salty foods a lot more than people can, and it has less effect than me, or less effect than I would have. You know, so it's definitely on your genetics.
Yeah, I think so too. You know, I mean, I tried the keto diet like a year ago.
I remember you did. Yes,
right. We talked about this right before I quit Publix, about 2 years ago now. Dang, and it just killed me. I mean, I the keto flu, man. It just, I tell you, I was doing work with the bounce houses and stuff, and I just like I was rolling. I just like stopped and like I just like zoned out. I didn't have any focus. It was nuts. So yeah, I mean, could I do it? Probably. I'd have to get just over the keto flu, but. I mean,
I feel like the keto diet has to be. I feel like if there's a diet that's really, really hard and specific, a lot of people think like it's hard to eat vegan. It's really not. I think the keto diet's by far one of the hardest.
Yeah, well, because I mean, you get your iron, your protein, your stuff that you need from plants and stuff. You can find all that stuff that I find in meat. In the plants. Yeah, keto, it literally carbs are gone. Right, or very light carbs.
Exactly, you know? Like so most keto diets, there are carbs, but it's such a it's such a super amount. It really has no effect. Yes, and it usually blends in with the meat or whatever else you're eating. Exactly. You know, so they kind of work hand in hand. You know,
I just turned 30 this year. I know I'm getting old, dude. Right, like so I just turned 30 this year, and like trying the keto diet at 28 after eating sugar my entire life, it like. My body had no idea what to do. Like, wait. We're so used to using carbs as energy. How the heck are we going to use fats and these kind of things as energy now? My body didn't know what to do.
By the way, just for future advice to anybody, is if you're ever like going to switch on a diet, do it softly. Oh, that's what I did. I started when I knew I was going to go vegan at some point, and I generally just like looked at myself and said, okay, instead of going hard cut, let's just remove slowly. And it took about 2 to 3 years. Yeah. And I never got any issues. I never lost mass amount of weight. I never lost muscle or anything like that because my body got sustained to like the lack of meat over time. And, you know, just like, you know, and that really helped a lot with my digestion. I feel like a lot of people need to at least try to like reduce whatever you eat a lot of, reduce that amount to kind of give your body a break.
Yeah, and that's, I find myself, right, I'm the type of guy that's all in or nothing, you know, and I find myself getting burnt out of things, you know, and I really need to.
It's kind of probably like an addictive personality, almost in a way. Like you just send it.
It is, and you know, I tell everybody I have an addictive personality. That's why I don't smoke. That's why I don't drink. You know, I don't do any kind of drugs because like. I know that if I enjoy it a little bit,
you're in it.
I'm in it, right? Like, you know, there's been so many times that I've quit these monsters here, you know, and I'll quit for 6 months, but I'll have that one day where I'm like, man, I really need to pick me up. I drink one.
And then it's downhill from there, yeah.
You know, then it's 2 a day. Then it's 4 a day. Now I'm back down to 2 a day. So I'm trying here, but you know, it's tough. I do have an addictive personality, and I know that if I don't go all the way in, I'll never fully get into it.
I get it. It's all in or nothing kind of thing, which is good and bad because that kind of personality is really good when it comes to like, you know, your own ventures in business or anything like that.
You know, making money and stuff like that. Like it's really good because like I'm all in, you know, and I always give 100%. But it's also bad because there's things that I'm passionate about that, you know, maybe not be healthy. These monsters for one, you know, or candy or things like that. So, you know, when doing like the keto diet, I was full bore, jumped right in. Next day, I was, you know, one day I'm drinking 4 monsters and eating candy. Next day I'm drinking, you know, pickle juice and, you know, eating bacon. Like, you know, but
it sounds so gross to me, bro. Pickle juice and bacon?
I just,
bro. Let me go ahead and explain something. Anybody who eats pickle juice and drinks it, fuck you. Just a general fuck you. Why? That shit is so weird. It's just I can't do it. I'll eat pickles like on like a burger, like vegan burger or like something shit like that.
Yeah.
I'll eat that. Mm-hmm. But just pickle juice?
Listen, man, it's so good for you.
I know the benefits to actual pickle juice, especially if you're like a lifter. Yeah. They're really good for like pumps, like really good.
Listen, I'm no scientist and I don't really know too much, but a lot of people tell you that it's good for your blood. Like it's a natural blood thinner. It'll clean you out. Listen, you drink too much. There's a lot of vinegar in that thing.
I don't think it's maybe it is a blood thinner. Maybe that's why it allows you to have a better pump because essentially.
I mean, maybe just because
how pumps usually work is through a pre-workout or anything like that. They open up the I believe it's just. I don't know if I want to say veins, but the idea is that it opens up the vessel to allow more blood flow. And the more blood flow it gets in there, the bigger the pump. That's how these things. So it would make sense if it's a blood thinner. Essentially, there would be more flow, allow more blood, more tightness.
And maybe people just said that. Obviously, I have
no. It's straight up shit. But like a lot. There's a lot of people who eat a pickle before a workout, and
maybe just produces good blood flow.
I believe that's just sodium in general. Like I think sodium like that paired with something that pickle has with it is good because if you look in like these pre-workouts or these pump fuels, there's sodium, there's potassium, there's beta-alanine, there's citrulline, all these other blends that pickles do generally have. Not like all those ingredients.
Facts over here, shoot, man.
Well, no, bro. Like
I hear you.
I know. I don't look like it much, but I was a gym rat until fucking COVID.
Come on, I'm sure you want to know what these things are, especially if you're vegan and you're putting something into your body that comes from a.
I give a shit and I don't.
Oh, really? Okay,
I give a shit and I don't there was a while where my only pre-workout was a black coffee and then I was like fuck it, give me something with like 350 milligrams of caffeine, 400 milligrams of caffeine, and give me a pair it with like a good pump supplement and I'll get me in there and some of my best workout. A lot of people say these guys just man you really shouldn't rely on a pre-workout because you're getting you're really not putting yourself in a situation where you really need to grind out. You're really not getting gains that you think you are. It's like, no, fuck you. You are getting gains because let me tell you something. There's been times where I've literally taken a scoop of pre-workout that was like, I know it's not good all the time, and I understand that. It's definitely not good. But if you're putting in a lot of work and you're working 2 jobs like I was at a time, you're going to need a pre-workout because you tell me you work an 8-hour shift and then do valet where you're running a quarter mile each car and you're doing about 100 cars. You tell me you can go and hit a PR or hit it like a deadlift or hit an hour sesh after, Really not that healthy for thinking about it. Sure. But there's times where I need that pre-workout and you cannot tell me pre-workout does not help.
Well, listen, I mean, it goes into like anything, right? If we're looking at, we're talking steroids or EPOs or all these things that, help you in performance, right? While some people may feel like, hey, listen, I'm better without them, right? I mean, let's look like, TJ Dillashaw just fought, 4 months ago, and 2 years ago, everybody was calling him a cheater. Dude looked the same.
Well, hold on. Hold on. Wait, no, he did not look the same because it was a different. No. He looked a lot leaner. Okay. He looked a lot leaner because it was a harder cut. A lot leaner. And 2, he was a cheater.
He was. You're right.
There's no denying it. He wasn't.
You're right.
The question is, how long was he cheating for? How long was he on EPO? I think it was honestly just that fight because it was at a lower weight class. He had to cut a hard weight, and as you get older, it's harder to make those weights. Sure. And he's no matter what, in genetics too. It's
I hear you.
But let's clear this out the way. EPO or not, the dude came back and was looking right.
I mean, he beat Corey Sandhagen with a torn ACL.
Let's go ahead and say this. I wouldn't care if they gave that to Sandhagen. Like I really don't care.
Sure, yeah. Sandhagen could have went either way.
It could have went either way. It was a great fight nonetheless.
Yeah.
You got to keep in mind at the same time, he wasn't active.
Yeah.
For 2 years. Oh, excuse me. 2 years, TJ wasn't active.
No.
Comes back, right? Comes out here, puts on a show.
Yeah.
Was it 3 or 5 rounds? I can't remember. Was it? I think it was 3, right? It had to be 3.
Yeah.
I believe. Yeah. There's no way it was a 5. No.
I don't think so. Because they put him on a main card.
Yeah. So it goes 15 minutes. I'll say that straight. 2 years off. Comes out. Definitely no EPO. You know he's getting tested for that.
Oh, for sure.
And if you know anything about EPO is a main steroid used, especially for these cyclists. A lot of people Who was that one guy who got caught with EPO who only had one nut? What's his name?
Lance Armstrong.
Lance Armstrong did EPO, I believe, right? There was a time, I believe, there was like an article where it said, like somebody in the interview said, if you drug tested it and took out all the people that were running EPO on this like cyclist like competition. What I don't know what the term is. I don't know, and I could be speaking out of my ass, but I believe it 100%. Because I have a family member who preaches by it, and they're like, and they, you know, it was my grandma, you know, just straight, just like, bro, like for 60 years old, still doing, bro, 65 years old doing Ironmans. Yeah, who does an Ironman?
EPOs for sure. Okay, like EPOs for sure. But I mean, I think,
but like if you took out everybody who was on EPO at a certain time, I think the cleanest person was like below 100th.
Sure.
You know, so, you know, realistically, like EPO is a drug to use to help enhance your cardiovascular your performance. Right? You know, and let's put it like this, you know, he didn't have that in the system.
Yeah.
And he went 15 minutes straight demon hours, bro. Just straight back and forth, had a lot to prove. And his knee.
And his knee was torn.
Fuck, buckling.
Had to have surgery.
Buckling.
He was talking. He should have had surgery before the fight, but he's like, "Nah, I can't. I gotta."
Listen,
fight
bro,
right?
and so, a lot of I watch a lot of these Dana Contender series, or even I don't know if you saw the Ultimate Fighter. Tough, like what is
Which
it?
One, the new one?
Yeah, the new season that came out. Yeah. A lot of those guys, I feel like there was a couple guys who I think there was one guy who like kind of like backed out because of his knee.
Yeah.
He wasn't too bad. It was hurting him. He has the right decision to make. Say, I don't want to do damage. It's kind of smart. Really is smart.
Yeah.
To do that because you're not hindering yourself potentially from damage that you may receive.
Yep.
But like Dana said in there, is like there's some people where you just gotta say, how bad do I want it?
Well, that's it.
There's times where these fighters come in these camps, and there's no fighter that doesn't walk in with no injury. There's always some kind of injury in these camps that happen.
It's different for these young kids versus like let's say, I mean, shoot, how many times was Khabib and Ferguson scheduled, and each one of them, and each one of them pulled out. So these guys those guys get that opportunity because of where they're at. You know what I mean? Like those guys are at the top.
Yeah.
These guys that aren't in the UFC, this might be their only shot. The UFC roster is small. Right?
It's small, but it's always filtering and growing at the same time. They're cutting, but as much as they're cutting, they're pulling in.
You're right. I think small was a bad word there. It is the elite.
Exactly. Right? You're not. There is no guarantee you're there.
Yep.
Forever,
right? And
especially for you lower guys, like there is a grind you have to go through.
There's a chance you never get another shot.
Brandon Moreno,
oh man, champion, shit,
was cut not because of his lack of performance, but because of division.
Yep,
the division.
Yeah,
that had nothing to do with him. So you got to really grind, and luckily he did because it gave him another shot. Now I will say this though, back then you are right. I think the statement you just said is you get one shot. I think that is completely different now because it looks like, and this is why I like Dana. I keep a close eye on Dana. Those guys who are on the tough usually come back at some point in the UFC. Like Dana's already called. I believe one guy, he pulled out on the last fight. I forgot his name, and I feel like I'm an asshole. But he pulled out due to an injury or something, and they had to go to the guy who just recently lost to see who was going to win the championship. The guy who pulled out is fighting on the card, did fight on the card or was fighting on the card. I completely, I don't remember. But Dana gives a lot of these people shots. I mean, look at it. How many times does he go out and he goes, "Hey, listen, I saw the fight. It was good. Work on this. Come back next time. You got that fix. You're in." I feel like now he has that ability to give people multiple chances.
Well, I agree with you to an extent, especially because now there's two ways to get in, right? Well, I shouldn't say two. There's multiple ways to get in the UFC, right? You have the tough, right, which this was the first season in a couple years, I believe, right?
Yeah. Didn't like it, but yep.
So we're also going to bring up, how about Colby Covington versus Jorge Masvidal in tough? Let's get this going, Dana.
I don't know why it hasn't happened.
Let's get this going, Dana. Right?
But,
I mean, it's
but
tough.
That's out the drain now. That's out the drain. You can't do that no more. You can't.
Why?
Well, Jorge Masvidal just got knocked out by Kamaru Usman. Yeah, did you say Colby Covington or Usman? Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, Colby Covington and Masvidal. Jorge, right?
Oh, okay, that makes sense. I'm sorry. I thought we were talking.
So we're talking. Colby's coming off a loss to Usman. Jorge's coming off a loss.
I think that's the fight to make. I honestly do. I think Leon Edwards and Jorge was the fight to make, and then unfortunately, whatever happened.
As far as contenders, that was the fight to make, right?
100%.
Where does Masvidal sit? Listen, we've had this discussion a couple of times, and while I love Jorge Masvidal and I love his style, I just don't think he's a champion, right? I just don't think he's on that level. I think Leon Edwards is better than him. I think Colby Covington is better than him.
You can't say you think Leon Edwards is better than Jorge.
I do. And Listen, we're gonna find out, right? Because
are we though? Because
well, listen. Other than Brandon Moreno's division, the 135 or 145, right? I think they're 125. Whatever weight class they are, right? There's literally 2 guys that you can name in that division, and that's Brandon Moreno and Figueroa. You know, other than that, please name somebody else that's coming up in that division.
The guy who just won this last weekend.
Who?
The guy. Who? What's his fucking name? Hold on. Give me 1 second. He just knocked him out. He's a partner in camp. Just knocked the guy who beat Cody Cranbart.
You're talking Dan Hooker's guy.
Fuck, I forgot his name.
Francais?
Yeah, He's the next one to fight. He called for. So hold on, wait a minute. That division has some fight, but you're right. Out of all the divisions, that division has one of the slowest. That's why
that division was going to get canned.
It did get canned, and then came back.
Yeah, so I feel like Francais, okay, so let's give him a nod too, because he just fought on the card. But before this card, did you know who that guy was?
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
see, I can
just because I know Dan Hooker and I know,
I know Dan Hooker,
but I watched him.
You know,
yeah, but no, you're right. A lot of people didn't know who he was.
That's it.
You're 100% correct.
A lot don't know. But when you beat a name like Cody Garbrandt, who is now not ranked, unfortunately, you know that's a legend, man.
Just talk about a guy who's got it rough right now, bro.
Yeah, what 5 knockouts in the past 2 years?
Bro, I just can't. Like. I get why a lot of people don't like him. He's very aggressive. He kind of like short trigger kind of temper.
Yeah, of course.
I think he's a lot better than he was back then. You know,
listen,
but if you hear his story, bro, in the past couple years, getting COVID, just a traditional, you know, gym bro mentality. I'm gonna work through this sickness, you know, even though he didn't know he had COVID. Made it worse, gave him like multiple issues.
Sure,
he's got a strong comeback. And let's talk about something. The past 2 fights, he has not fought the way we are used to seeing him fight.
It,
you know, good or bad, there was a lot of bad that came with his aggressive, fast speed. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna get and stand and bang in the pocket here. Yeah. You know, there was a lot of bad that comes with it because it got him clipped a lot. You know, that was the same thing that why TJ lost or won to him. Mm-hmm. Knocked him out because Cody knocked him down in the first round, I believe, or second round. Pointed at him. Their first fight. Second one, they got in a standing bang position. Cody just like, fuck it, let's go here. He got clipped on the way in, you know, off one of his hooks he threw, and he lost the fight. But now he's changed his pacing of a fight, and I think it's good. I think he's in a position where he needs to figure out, do I want to have this chaotic, I'm in a chaos stand and bang, or do I want to be in the slow pace? Because he can't find the middle, it seems like. And I think he needs to act. Who does the I think he needs to be more like Gaethje. I think he needs to figure his rhythm of a controlled chaos.
So I agree with you to an extent, right? But I feel like, and we could talk numerous people. There's 2 ways to go out, right? There's on top, and there's on your shield, right? There's no other way to do this, right? So you look at people like Anderson Silva. You look at people like, Amanda Nunes, right? She just lost to Pena over the past weekend.
Yep.
You look at most people.
Talk about that, bro.
Most people decide to go out on their shield. They fight too long, and then you start to lose this. You know, you hit this legendary status, and then you start to falter. And the new generation coming in only sees the falter. So, right, I can argue with you that Anderson Silva is one of the best champions I've ever seen. But the new people are going to be like, well, what about Israel Adesanya? And I'm like, okay, Adesanya is great too. After he fights Whitaker the second time, there's no debate on who could be the best.
Okay,
right?
I understand.
So, you know, there's 2 ways to go out, right? And Habib and GSP were like the only 2 that we could really think of that were like, hey, I'm at the top. I won the belt from again. I'm out.
At least most recently, yes.
You know, I'm out.
Yeah, most recently, definitely.
So
I think that is a great statement you made. Yeah.
So for Garbrandt, I feel like he's at a point where he's either taking too much damage, his fighting style just doesn't. And listen, can people change? By all means, but if you've been fighting one way your whole life, and
it's hard to change that way because exactly, yeah. No, I get it. So that's why I say I don't think he can work on a slow, because his first fight back, right? Mm-hmm. His 2 fights ago, right, a fight before the most recent one. He was super slow. It was almost like he was gun shy. He was afraid to pull the trigger. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that's his style. I think he needs to take the approach Gaethje takes, a controlled, chaos. Know when to turn it on and know when to cut it off and be like, I'm out. I can't stand in this pocket right now. I just got clipped. Let me buy me some time. Let me recuperate myself. I'm back in the pocket here, you know?
But who does he fight?
Okay, well, nobody at that division because I don't think he needs to. Okay, so hold on. Let's explain this. Who he just lost to is nothing to be upset about. That guy is a great fucking fighter. Yeah. He hits like a fucking truck, and Israel's been saying that for a while. He's been like, you do not want to be hit by this guy. Yeah. Bro, shot his shot in the middle of Cody swinging straight to the ground.
Sure.
Immediately. So I don't think we can clearly say that's not his division, but there are two things we know for sure. He has taken damage. Yeah. Okay. And two, he performs his best, it seems like, when he's being chaotic. I don't think he needs to go straight to like a flow kind of state where like you see Israel in where he's flowing, he's kind of meeting like let me counter with let me bait you in to striking, let me counter you, kind of like Conor does.
Sure.
I don't think he needs to do that. I think he needs to start playing the long game and pick apart. I don't think he needs to. I think he rushes.
Despite his game, right, and what needs to change in fighting, right? Because we could sit here and critique everybody, even though I'm 30 years old and I'm overweight and
one of the best parts,
right. We could sit here and easily talk, but I think more of like a matchup standpoint, right? Like we just watched Dominic Cruz fight on the undercard, and while in his interviews he says that it doesn't matter to him, he gets paid the same.
Well, he does get paid the
same. Pay wise, sure, but how for us who have watched Dominic Cruz win multiple champions and beat some of the best?
I know.
How do we watch him on the undercard?
I know. Right? I agree with you 100%.
I feel like some of these guys, like they feel like, listen, nobody wants to give up the old football uniform. You know what I mean? Nobody wants to give up the pads. Nobody wants to give up on fighting. Nobody wants to give up, especially these these manly men, quote, in quotations. Because it's like this is what they have. This is all they have. This is all they have, right? So, but at what point do you have to tell yourself like, when is it time to go? When is it time to retire? What is the right time? And we can't answer that for anybody. But when you're watching Dominic Cruz fight, it's like, man, he needs to be on the overcard.
I understand. I was upset when I saw that too, almost in a way. But listen, at the end of the day, we can be upset for him, but I can guarantee he wasn't upset.
No, he wasn't.
Because he was sitting there like, I'm in a good position. Mm-hmm. First of all, let's talk financially for the UFC. That's a great position to be in. It's a smart move to put Dominic there because, one, we're watching Dominic come back again, even though it's not been that long, but still, it's Dominic, Two, he's literally the last fight, I believe, or the second to last fight.
He was,
before the main card. That's a great way to pull people in early. Pull the views in, that way they can to watch the main card as well.
Okay, so I agree with you from a like a financial standpoint.
100%. It's the move. It's the move.
But listen, like you just wasted a fight on an undercard, and so Dominic Cruz can headlight fight nights.
100%. No one said that. Right? No one said he can't.
So why would you want to put him on an undercard when listen?
Because you got to remember who was on that card originally. You had Amanda Nunes, all right, versus Pena. We'll get to that. Okay. Yeah. You have also you were supposed to have Jorge Masvidal, and you were supposed to have Leon Edwards on that fight card. Yep. Okay. Then you had your main card, Dustin Poirier versus Charles Oliveira, and fuck
Sugar
what
Sean,
fuck what you heard. Sugar Sean is no longer a prelim fighter. No. You put him on the main card, no matter what. Yep. Now, what spot you put him in, that's debatable. Okay. At the same time, that was your original stack up.
Sure.
I would much rather put Sean O'Malley over Dominic Cruz.
Okay, so you're absolutely right, but.
I agree with you. As soon as Jorge Masvidal, right, and pulls from the fight, you put Dominic there.
No. Listen, okay, so
not to fight Leon, but you replace that.
I think you make my point here in the fact of why do you need Dominic Cruz on the undercard to sell the main card? You don't.
I guess you don't.
Right? Yeah, you don't need him to sell the main card.
I think he wanted to be on this. I think he wanted the fight. I think Dominic wanted to be active. He needs to fight. He has to prove a point.
There's a fight night coming up this weekend.
I understand, but come on, that's even more disrespect. Throw him on a fight night.
As a main event, it's five rounds.
I understand, but nah.
Well, I think Hamzat is about to fight on the fight night.
First of all, you don't disrespect my boy Hamzat.
No, listen.
That boy a demon, bro.
This is something I wrote down that I wanted to discuss with you, right? Because listen, Khamzat has 4 fights in the UFC and is ranked. Sugar Sean O'Malley has 6 fights, maybe 7 fights, including the Contender Series, and just now got ranked.
Okay, let's talk about something. 2? Mm-hmm. Why should Sean... All right, let's ask. Why do you think Sean O'Malley should be ranked? In your opinion, why?
So
There's only 2 options. There's only 2 options. You either think he should be ranked because he's fighting, he's a great fighter, or 2, because he brings in views.
Okay, so...
Conor McGregor style.
Okay, so I think Sugar, O'Malley has said this multiple times. It doesn't matter who he fights. He's bringing in a crowd.
Of course.
Right? I feel like Sean O'Malley knows that if the fight goes to the ground, he don't know how it goes. Right? Could make sense. Who knows how his
I think that's his next step. I think he needs to verse somebody who's on the ground.
So, he's got 1 loss in the UFC.
Not really.
Who
I don't even agree to it's a loss. I don't even think it's a loss, honestly.
I agree. But listen, they counted Conor's.
Of course, no matter what it is, it's a loss.
Right?
Yeah, no matter what.
So he's got that 1 on his.
We can say what if we won, but it is a loss.
Exactly,
so let's be real. Yeah.
Chito Vera sitting there at 8, and O'Malley's sitting at 13 now. I mean, that's the fight to make.
God, look, put him in a rematch.
However,
fucking big ass toe.
However, if I'm the UFC, I'm not doing that, and I'll tell you why. If Chito can keep climbing, and they both meet in the top 5,
that's their plan. They're not putting him now.
That's it.
No. Even Sean said that. He said that in his post fight.
Yeah. Yep.
Excuse me, or one of his pre-fight conferences or post fight. Mm-hmm. He said, if Chito keeps growing and I keep growing, we're gonna meet at some point.
Sure.
Not immediate.
Yeah.
No one wants to see that immediately. No.
Nobody does. Because honestly,
so what you're saying is you want Sean, and you think he should be ranked a lot earlier because of the people he brings in.
Well, that's it. I think so, right? Because I listen to O'Malley's podcast every now and then as well. I try to keep updated with most of this stuff. He was right? Like he beat 3 people before Chito lost, right? And not only did he lose to Chito, but then when he lost, Chito then became ranked because he beat O'Malley. That was when Chito got his rank.
Yeah, this is kind of like the same thing
right?
Nate's been preaching kind of a while.
So
how
can him beating me?
Exactly.
This is O'Malley,
Yeah. How could he not be ranked and somebody become ranked after fighting?
After fighting me.
I get it.
Right?
Yeah.
So yeah, he just beat, the guy who was ranked. He was ranked 15th and then he fell out of the rankings. But, it's tough to not rank him. And now he is ranked. He's obviously at 13. And I think that's a good spot for him because 13 can go up, and fight pretty much anybody. Nobody in the top 5 is going to fight him.
No, but he's in the talks after a couple fights.
I feel like, unfortunately, for O'Malley, that's a tough division. I mean,
a hard division.
Talking right now.
You're talking demons in that division.
Well, you're talking the top 2 people are champions because there's an interim champion right now.
Exactly.
So you're talking about Aljamain Sterling, who knows if he's going to come back, what he's going to do.
A lot of people don't think he's going to come back.
I think, unfortunately.
Okay, we all know who won that fight. Peter Yan
was winning that fight.
I know we just said, we're talking facts here. Mm-hmm. Like on paper, what it says, no matter what we say, We said that with Sean, yes, I get it. On paper, we should just stop saying that he didn't lose. He lost. Okay?
Yeah.
But there are conditions where no matter what paper says, we know who won.
Yep.
Peter Yan won.
He was winning that fight.
No. He was not just winning. He was destroying
him.
Outgassed him.
Yeah.
I mean, let's talk about a guy who can eat shots correctly from a boxing standpoint. Puts his guard up, absorbs the shots, flexes his body at the right time. You see his abs in his ribcage really close.
Yeah.
The guy's smart. The guy's not dumb. And that is credit, 100% credit to Tiger Muay Thai because they know how to actually stand in a pocket and absorb shots. That's all Muay Thai is.
Sure.
These guys will let you bang out a couple on them, right? Mm-hmm. And then they'll return some fire. He is absolutely one of the best, and I mean this, the best guys who knows how to absorb shots correctly.
Yeah.
You see how he fights? Watch his next fight. Guard is up right here, right?
Yeah.
If he sees a shot coming, he kind of tightens it up right here, right? Muay Thai style, right? Punches down. You'll see his rib cage close in. He's flexing the abs, right? He's bracing.
Yeah.
And when he feels that punch coming, this is outstanding, bro. When he sees a punch coming, let's say you give him a left hook on the rib, he's gonna feel it and he's gonna kind of bend to it. Yeah. Okay, he's absorbing. It's kind of like rolling with the punch.
Sure,
he's smart.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
And that's what gassed out Aljamain. When Aljamain was standing in that pocket with him and just giving it everything, and he wasn't seeing anything back, and then he would say, "Now let me give you a few." Now the cardio of you having the cardio you just spent giving and now having a retreat is double cardio.
Yeah. So
Petr Yan, no matter what.
Okay, so Petr Yan
did not just win; he destroyed.
Right?
Yeah,
he's a champion, right? Not only is he the champion in most people's eyes because Aljamain,
the majority,
more majority. We'll say majority. I mean, he just beat Corey Sandhagen. Who? Yes, Corey Sandhagen is coming off a loss to TJ, but
who beat Corey Sandhagen?
Petr Yan. Yeah, that was for the interim title. Yeah. That's how he won the title, right? So you're talking. Petr Yan just beat Sandhagen, who is by far one of the best strikers in that division. You know. Yeah, TJ just beat him, but like we mentioned earlier in the podcast, is you could give that fight to Sandhagen and nobody's saying anything different.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah. We're okay with whoever gets next title shot. Yeah, right? Exactly.
So now you're looking at TJ, and obviously TJ's up there, right? I think Dominic Cruz is in that same division. You're talking, I mean, the top 5 guys.
Dude, these guys, one of the best divisions to be in.
You could pretty much go down this list. You're talking about Jose Aldo, Rob Font, freaking Dominic Cruz. Chito Vera, Morales, Pedro Munez, like all these guys, Frankie Edgar, all these guys are above O'Malley on the rankings. And it's
Frankie Edgar just lost, I believe, recently too.
Last fight night?
Yeah. I believe Frankie Edgar lost.
No, he must have won because he went up 2 spots.
No shot. He had. I'm pretty sure he lost.
I'm
pretty sure he lost. I'm not kidding.
No, I think he won. I think he won in his fight night.
No, bro, I'm being serious.
Well, we're going to look because these rankings are updated from yesterday. So if he went up 2 spots, there's no way he lost. But regardless, so
we're looking it up right now. Hold on.
Yeah, we're pulling out our phones here and trying.
I'm pretty sure he lost, bro.
Here we go. Sheer Dog.
Yeah, Chito Vera beat Frankie Edgar. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So Chito beat him.
Yeah, right? Chito. Yeah.
That's why Chito's above him.
Yeah, that's why. Okay,
yeah, you're right.
I remember that fight.
Yes, you're right. But nonetheless, like those top 11 guys that we just named, where do you put O'Malley amongst them?
Well, the reason why I brought Frankie Edgar is because I think. Sean O'Malley needs to fight Frankie Edgar or somebody who. The reason why, and this is no disrespect. First of all, I know we're talking a lot of shit, on some fighters. And listen, we don't mean anything personal. We understand very well. We give the utmost respect to any fighter.
Oh, of course.
To go in the cage in general, like listen, just so you can understand why I understand this, growing up my whole life, I was in, typical karate, moved on to boxing, Muay Thai, tried jiu-jitsu, had a hernia, never got into jiu-jitsu, want to get back into it, want to keep going into it. I learn as much as I can. But for the most part, Muay Thai and boxing is my absolute favorite thing I've ever worked on, and I still do to this day. I do understand what it's like to get in a fight with somebody in a controlled environment, not at the level they do. And that's why I give respect. Because I can put myself in those shoes and I can say, to go in there 3 to 5 rounds, no matter who you are, you give respect to anybody. Yeah. And a lot of people don't understand that because they're like, well, how could you talk so much shit and then at the end of the day, shake hands?
So let's talk, right? Like, same thing here, right? I was a Marine. I did jujitsu.
Well, now you were just a Marine. You were a Marine boxer as well.
Yeah. So the thing about this is when we compare people, we compare them to each other, right? So nobody's saying that Frankie Edgar, right? Obviously, legend. If we go, Frankie Edgar's not on the level of some people. It's obviously not in disrespect. No. It's in comparison to somebody else, better, exactly. Right? So like, I would never say I could get in there and beat Frankie Edgar.
No, exactly. No. We're just comparing them to their opponents, in our opinion.
Exactly, right?
I just want to make that clear. We have the most absolute respect for them because
in any sports talk, this is what.
Well, hold on, no, I feel like UFC is a lot better above a lot of sports. Here's why. Okay, maybe excluding football because football has a lot of head trauma. Mm-hmm. You genuinely, and I mean genuinely, okay, because I've been knocked out. Yeah. You genuinely, and not to the level these guys have been knocked out. These guys get knocked out and they don't get. They still get punches till that ref pushes them off.
Of course.
You literally lose a piece of yourself in there, no matter what. Yeah. You're not coming out the same. Mm-hmm. Even whether you notice it or not, you are literally not coming out the same.
Yeah.
So therefore, you don't get that in football. You don't get that. Football's more of a progressive thing, and depending on position and all that stuff. What that's what I'm saying. It's a little different. That's why I feel like
I agree with you. And what I meant by that is just more of in comparison, right? So if we're talking like quarterbacks, right? I would never be able to go. I could go in and do what Tom Brady does with the Buccaneers.
No, we understand. Yeah,
right. So when I compare Tom Brady, or if I go, man, Jared Goff is absolute garbage. Right, I'm not comparing him to me or to an average person.
I don't think we're saying we're acting that way. I think the reason why I said that is because we all know the majority of people who are in sports genuinely think they could actually do what Brett Favre, Tom Brady, all these people do. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Like, oh, bro, back in my day, I could throw that ball farther.
That's it,
like,
right?
Bro, who the fuck are you, bro?
When you talk sports, whether it be any sports, for me, it's in comparison to other people. Right? I can sit here and go, listen, Jared Goff is absolute dog trash.
Don't know who the fuck that is.
Exactly. What I mean, some of your viewers probably do. He's the Detroit Lions quarterback. They've won one game this year.
Yeah, for anybody, I'm not big into football.
Yeah. But in comparison, not to me or not to you, right? We could not go and lead the Detroit Lions to one victory, right? We can't do it. It's not going to happen, right? However, compared to Tom Brady, or compared to even like his next predecessor, let's say just like Matthew Stafford.
Okay.
You know, who again you probably don't know, but
is he the second string?
No, he's now the Rams. No, he's the Rams starter. Yeah. So they actually traded spots.
Okay.
That's what happened.
Yeah.
Compared to him, he's absolute dog trash. You know, so it's obviously, you know, I don't want anybody to hear roast me and be like, "Oh, well, you couldn't go in and do."
No. We well understand our limits as a exactly.
The ball 50 yards.
And let me tell you something, though, boy. This 5'9" dude got fucking speed, bro. This boy got some speed. Listen, I thought he was lying, bro. Listen, look at this guy. I thought this guy could not run a fucking 4 flat, bro. Mm-hmm. I can literally say this guy can run a 4. This boy can book it, bro.
All right. So. Thanks. Don't give me a bigger head than I already have, all right?
Sorry, bro. I had to make that clear because I was in shock when that happened. I was like, this motherfucker.
You know, you know, it's funny. Me and John, we talked about, you know, training, and we trained a couple times, right?
Yeah.
You know, he come over and we hit the Muay Thai pads and whatnot, and he's like, dang, man, I didn't see that. Because listen, I've gained a little weight since the Marines, you know. You get out and people ask, man, what happened? Taco Bell. Please, you know, Taco Bell happened. And, you know, so I don't look the part, but I got, you know.
Exactly. A lot of people, you know, and fighting will teach you that a lot. And this is why I think a lot of people should fight is, you know, listen, it is subconsciously in our DNA. And I firmly believe this. I don't give a fuck what you think. You know, as a guy, you see a smaller guy. You literally think, I could kill him. I can hurt him. We size each other up all the fucking time. And let me tell you why I know that's true. Because I'm a small fucking dude. I'm 5'6", 5'7", 5'8" if I'm wearing boots. Yeah. Okay? Proper posture, 5'7". My normal posture, I'm definitely 5'6" when I'm slouched. Okay? Sure. Crazy how I know every measurement to myself. Hey, bro, somebody get no.
I'm 5'8" with 2.5 inches. So
no, bro, because the shit I get all the time, bro. You have no idea. Anyways, because I used to have really, really, really bad short man syndrome, and then as growing up, now I make fun of it and I pretend I saw it because it's so fucking fun. Sure, anyways, literally, I am nowhere near 6 foot. I'm not 200 pounds. I'm not yoked out of my fucking skull. But if I can literally see a guy with my size smaller than me, I generally think that. So I know for a fact that goes hard. It's not just me. So what I'm trying to say is a person like me should not be thinking like that. And I still think like that.
Well, it's this alpha male type thing, right? Like, you know, nobody wants second place.
Nobody.
Right? And the point behind that is when you look at somebody, you're like, oh, man. You know what it really boils down to?
What?
And I think it's this guy can take my girl.
100%. Right. This guy can take everything I fucking have. Yeah, exactly.
Fuck no. You know
exactly. So it happens all the time. Like, tell me you're not one shot in. Like every guy knows. You take it's a running joke with Hennessy. Like take one shot of Hennessy. You look at it. I bet I could beat that motherfucker's ass. Like because in your head you're thinking like, if that guy wanted to start some shit, take my girl, take my money. Could I? Yeah, fuck yeah, I could beat his ass.
Could I defend myself? Yeah. Could I you know, exactly.
And just to kind of like backtrack why I brought this up is I think everybody should be in a fight, because once you're not in a fight, but get into fighting in a controlled environment, obviously, is you kind of realize, you know, a bigger guy, like you said, like you wouldn't look at you and be like, that guy can swing, that guy can bang.
Yeah.
There's a lot of guys out there who are like that. Like, let me put it like this. If no one knew Justin Gaethje at all, but still had all that power, I would 100% misunderstand that. Have you seen that guy
so
outside of fighting?
Let's put Justin Gaethje aside, right? How about Charles Oliveira, who's the champion?
Okay.
Dude walks out with freaking goggles on, right?
Goggles? So take away the fake teeth. Right? Yeah, take away everything else. You look at that guy, like, I could beat that boy's ass.
Right? Exactly.
You look at it's same. I think Justin Gaethje is a lot worse because he's got that weird like jawline. No. He's almost cross-eyed.
Okay,
I'm just saying, Justin Gaethje's a little funny looking dude. But
if I'm not mistaken, both of them have cauliflower ear. And listen, if you see cauliflower ear,
run.
Just stay the fuck away.
Yeah.
Especially if you have no training.
Well, I'm just saying, like, you put you know, the glasses on, their normal clothes. You don't know who they are. Cauliflower on.
Yep.
You know, and that's the majority of people who fight that you meet in the gym. Yeah. A lot of these guys you wouldn't expect to stand and bang, to be a black belt in jiu-jitsu, to be a experienced in boxing.
You know, even the smaller guys.
And that's why a lot of people should get into this, because that mentality, if I can beat everyone's ass, because you start a little bit more cautious.
Okay. So let's not get into that mentality, because then once you got fights in the streets and shit, I bet you I could beat your ass. I think fighting.
Well, that's how I think you prevent that from happening, bro.
I think at fighting and going and learning jiu-jitsu or Muay Thai or something like that, it gives you that perspective of, right? Listen, everybody's been to their first jiu-jitsu class. Everybody starts as a white belt. You go in. I don't care if you're a wrestler. I don't care if you've wrestled with your brothers for many years. You go in and you get destroyed, and it kills your ego.
Talk about being humbled.
A lot of people
humbled is what you're saying.
Will quit jiu-jitsu because of it.
Unfortunately, yes, and you know, and that's kind of a good way. I kind of like it. It filters out. It filters out the weak.
Well, but I think it's good for people to do that and understand that, like, there's levels to
You're not shit.
There's levels
at the end
to
of the day. You are nothing, because there's always somebody out there better than you.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, bringing that back to the UFC, because I think that's how we kind of got off topic here, is, you know, we know where we stand.
Exactly, 100%.
You know what I mean? We know that these guys are fucking by far phenomenal. These are the guys that could take our girls. You know what I mean? Like,
well, bottom line, that's what we're saying. This is why I generally wanted you on the podcast for a long time, because I don't have to. This flows naturally.
Sure,
see what I'm saying? Like, we just got on the topic and just.
I mean, that's it.
It's just a flow. Listen, a lot of people are like, man, you only have a few podcasts on Anchor. You only got one video that was done live. I'm like, you have no understanding. Like, I'm still trying to find the right people, because there's some people where I'm like, there's too much work. I cut it short. There's a flow that kind of goes with this, you know, and you're the perfect person to fucking
listen. I know a lot about a little, or excuse me, a little about a lot. All right? I could talk on any subject you want to talk about, you know, and if we have headway of what we're going to talk about, listen, I'll do my research, because like I'm not somebody who likes to come in unprepared at all, right? I mean, here I am sitting here with the top 15 for every weight class of the UFC, because that was what we were going to talk about.
Let's roll that back real quick. I want to get to that. This past fight card.
Yes.
I called you immediately after that fight.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Okay, so I'll tell you. After the first round, Amanda looked different.
I don't even think it was the first round. No, I think it was halfway through the first round.
I'll give you that. Yeah.
I could literally see it, bro. Because listen. There's no disrespect to Pena at all. We know it was good. Everyone's mindset is this is a sacrifice. We know who's gonna win.
Yep.
Who's not gonna win?
Look at the odds,
bro. Exactly.
Minus 1,000,
bro.
You know,
it started at like 600, then it moved to 1,000 as the fight got closer.
Yeah,
bro, 1,000. Whoever betted on Pena, you're fucking rich.
Yeah.
Okay,
we donate.
Second
do what you gotta do. You know,
listen. Let me explain. I walked in there, obviously, like everybody else. Watched the fight. We all know who's gonna win. Like when I watch a fight, bro, I start on the couch. A normal fight. Prelim fight, I'm on the couch and watching. If it's a really good fight that I'm excited for, Sean O'Malley, I pull up a chair to the TV, I want to see everything. I'm watching, I'm in it, I'm screaming, I'm moving, like I'm fucking in love. And Amanda Nunes comes on, I'm laid back on the couch, bro, on the pillow. I'm like, all right, let's get this over with.
Yeah.
Halfway through the first round, I'm like, wait a fucking minute. This is not going the way everyone thought it was going to go.
Okay, so let's look at the fight, right? And I want to say in fights, you're supposed to adapt and overcome certain things. Pena's jab was always there. I felt like anytime Amanda, I can't even talk. Amanda like leaned in, the jab was there. There was no movement of the head, right? There was no nothing. It just felt off, right? And this is what we're talking about going out on your shield is, right? Does the Pena loss mean that Amanda Nunes isn't the GOAT?
No, not at all. So one thing I think is incorrect on that statement is she did not go on a shield. Okay,
she did what?
She didn't go on a shield.
No, I mean she's still a champion. Yeah, right. She's still a champion of a weight class.
Oh yeah. When I mean she didn't go on her shield is meaning like she didn't give it her best.
Because
she wasn't prepared.
I understand.
She tapped and everyone was like, I sat there my way. She tapped already.
Yeah.
Like this is no disrespect. We've seen people go out on their shields. We've seen people not tap at all. Tony Ferguson.
Okay.
Prime example. Stuck in an armbar. Charles Oliveira readjusts the arm, sets the hips up higher. You literally hear Tony go, and he doesn't tap.
Sure.
That man went on the shield. Amanda did not go on a shield. Here's why. I'm not saying this is she's weak or anything. Amanda hasn't been tested like that. And unfortunately, this is very common with somebody who is that goated as you go through the division so fast. Listen, all her fights she's ended in victorious fashion. She's not been tested to that level. Listen, Pena was not supposed to get in a fight like that. She was not. It was supposed to stand and bang a little bit, cut the distance. That way she can not throw her heavy hands as powerful as she could. Grab the single, hit the double, take her back, bring her to the floor, and then make her tap. Pena, thank God, did not listen to her corner. Because in the corner of the second round, beginning of the second round after the first, he said, you need to go for a single. Ditch the double, go for the single, take her back. This is our plan. She said, fuck that. And I'm glad you recognize it because her jab was money. Because a lot of people don't know when you're kind of getting thrown that much shit at once, you're getting backtracked. Not alone, you're not just dealing with the fact of cardio. Yeah. Let's talk actual like science here.
Yeah.
There's so much info going to the brain that you're like, hold up, wait a minute. There's an overtaxing that's going on. Like you're dealing with. This is why mixing it up is as a term. This is what they mean. Like you got to mix it up.
Yeah.
You're confusing your opponent. There's so much to think about. So you're starting to shut them down. Okay, and this is what makes champions. So Amanda's got to deal with cardio that she hasn't dealt with. In a long time. Yeah. She, let alone that, she's dealing with a wrestler. Okay, so she got to think about that. Let alone she's dealing with jabs. She's getting pushed back. She hasn't been there. And two, she was fucking stung multiple. So add the actual ability to not be able to think properly on your feet is something completely different. And so, Amanda was in deep.
I'll tell you, I really feel Amanda's mistake came in the first round when she sat Pena down. She hit her with a big shot, sat her down, and went to the ground with her.
Why?
Right? Why? So I think, right, if we're talking here, who do you think is the second best female fighter in the world? I probably know your answer, and I think I'm going to disagree with you.
Well, what do you think?
I think your answer is Rose.
Rose Namajunas?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, so I think Valentina Shevchenko is by far the second best fighter.
I think she is by far either first very arguably first.
She's first now.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Rankings,
Valentina Shevchenko by far. The girl's a fucking demon. You see that girl outside, you're like
the bullet.
That's
somebody that you see and you go, oh yeah, that girl's gonna take my girl.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, literally, bro. Like,
my girl.
Let me tell you, like a lot of people think she won against Amanda, and
but that's it, right? What's her two losses to Amanda? Right. So I think Amanda. I think this fight. She watched what Valentina or Shevchenko did to. Who's the girl who beat Thug and put her on her head?
Oh, you're talking about Andrade?
Jessica
right? Andrade. I think that's her name. Yeah. Well, you're saying like she took her down. She said, "No, this is
the shit out of her."
I see what you're saying.
I don't care where you take me. You know, this
you think you're good on the floor?
Yeah, I'm
gonna show you who's really good. Yeah.
I feel like Pena, maybe not Pena, but
Amanda.
Yeah, in her head a little bit.
Thought she could do the same thing. Kind of make the same statement
instead of doing what she does best and just beating the shit out of people.
I think. I think I can see why you think that. Here's my opinion. I think that Amanda is well versed on the ground. I don't think she's nowhere near I don't think she's at the level of Pena. Okay, but I think Amanda could put a decent fight. I don't think she was trying to make a statement. I think she genuinely thought she was confident on the ground, and so? She is. She didn't get really dominated like crazy on the ground. Like she survived on the ground. Yeah, she did great. But here's what: at the end of the day, she got choked out. Yeah. And I don't even think she really got choked out. Her hooks weren't. Pena's hooks were not set.
I thought she was above the chin. I thought it was more of a neck crank than a choke.
Literally, it's just cardio wear. She has not had that much cardio exerted from that fight. And believe it or not, I think Amanda, in my own opinion, looked a little leaner than she normally does.
Well, I honestly think that she was overlooking Pena, and her next thought was, I need a big money fight, and it's going to be versus Valentino, Shevchenko, right? So, because that's the fight to make. That's really the
Amanda
fight to
and Shevchenko.
Yeah, you gotta run it back. You got not
anymore. Now it's Amanda and Pena round 2.
Oh yeah,
you're gonna see that no matter what. It's gonna be
right.
Well, you held that title for that long. It's rightfully so. And what's gonna happen? We put her in 3rd, 4th ranking. She goes through that like nothing.
Yeah. You don't.
Listen,
you don't.
This is a classic issue where you dominate a division for so long. You're not tested that long. Yeah. Okay, and because you're not tested that long, unfortunately, if you're not being tested in the gym constantly, you're not going to be prepared for somebody who's thirsty. Because no matter what you say, this is not knocking Pena, saying like, "Oh my God, Amanda wasn't ready."
Sure.
No. Pena is absolutely more worthy to be there, but to go against somebody like Pena, you got to be completely ready all around cardio wise.
There's an etiquette to this, right? So, and I was kind of explaining this to somebody. When we're watching like the Dustin and Charles fight, is
what a fight.
If Dustin wins, Charles doesn't get a rematch.
No, right? Because you've only held it for.
But that's it. He hasn't defended it.
Exactly. That was his defense. That's the only time you won't get a rematch. No, you'll get ranked. You'll get the opportunity if you kill your 1 or 2 guys. It's not that hard of a grind.
No, you can go back
from before. Yeah.
But there's an etiquette to it. Amanda has defended this belt.
Yeah. No.
Multiple
Whoever
times.
Says Amanda doesn't deserve it can eat shit.
Oh yeah, for sure. They're I don't want to say that word. They're not.
No, they could eat
straight.
Shit. No,
okay?
They're stupid.
Yeah.
They're dumb.
Stupid. Yeah. But exactly like there's an etiquette to it, right? She was the champion for so long.
Yeah.
Pena's got to prove it, right? There's that
Pena
like old
knew going into this fight there was if she won, and in her head she's like, I'm gonna win. There's gonna be a rematch.
Yeah,
she knows it.
You ever play horse in basketball, right? Some people play where after you get the E, oh hey, you got to prove your shot. You got to hit it again. Right? I don't lose it to you. Right? There's that. Hey, you got to prove this.
Yeah,
prove it to me.
Yeah,
run it back.
Yeah.
So that's obviously the fight to make. It'll happen
without a doubt.
Before
listen, Pena did great. Listen, she shocked me. I thought if anything she was gonna win more on the ground, dominate. Didn't turn out that way. I think Pena not listening to her corner was great. They said just shoot for the double. Or ignore the double, shoot the single. Yeah. You can see the concern on Pena, and rightfully so. She got sat down twice.
Yeah.
Exactly. You can see she's trying to take my neck. She said, or something like that. And they said it's okay. And you can see that. And she said again. And then her coach was like, "No, listen, we're good. This is what we worked on."
Yeah.
I don't know what fucking clicked in her head. I don't know if her being like irrational worked in her favor, and I hope that's not what it is. I hope she literally sat there and said, "I can win and stand and bang." I hope there was a moment in the fight where she's like, "Hold on. This jab is working. Let me go in there." I hope it wasn't an irrational thing, because if it's an irrational thing that she did, and that's what won her the fight, I don't think it's going to work in her favor. The second fight.
I'll tell you, even in the walk up in the cage, the announcements, Pena did not look like she wanted to be there. I'll tell you, in my opinion, she didn't look at Amanda one time. She was.
I get what you're saying. Right? I think more so, my opinion, I think what it was is she was not trying to be anything. Let me rephrase it. I don't think she was trying to be succumb to what everyone gets succumb to, is where you feel the pressure and you see the intimidation. Because listen, bro, I don't give a shit who you think you are. When Amanda looks at you with the amount of titles the amount of time she held that title, and Amanda looks at you in the middle of a press conference and says, "You'll never be champ." That holds weight, and that's going to hit you a little bit.
They call her the lioness for a reason.
Listen, the second fight's going to be good. Now, we're going to figure out what kind of... We're going to figure out not what kind of champion. We know what champion she is. She's proved that. Is if she's going to be in this fight game, how for
much longer.
Right? Because right now, she's sitting in her head. She's like, do I want to fight still? Why did I lose? Am I willing to put in the work to not let the cardio beat me again? and to think correctly and not maybe go to the ground as much and maybe have the will to maybe get choked out. Because all in all, I'm comfortably saying that choke was not that bad for her. Because she's been in worse positions. It's been a while since she's been tested.
That's it. Yeah, it's been a while. She even said after her fight her head really wasn't in it.
Despite what you think, your job is to be in it, no matter what.
That's it, right? And I just listened actually on the way over here. I was listening to Dustin talk to Ariel Helwani, and same thing, he was just like, man, I was locked in all week, and then Saturday I just felt like I wasn't locked in. Yeah, Dustin. And they're training
I think it's a pressure.
Right?
I think it's a pressure.
Well, and that's what he said. He's like, I put this pressure on myself. Like, here I am, and I 25 to life is what he said pretty much. And because once you become a champion, he was an interim champion at one point, but that's different.
No, champion. People say that. I think I heard what's his name? Fuck, bro. Why do I always get these brain farts? Oh, fuck! He has his own podcast now, his own show on YouTube. It's
was he an interim champion?
No. He's retired. Bisping, Michael Bisping. Sorry, jeez, I couldn't pull it out of my.
Sure.
Michael Bisping said, there's no. He said, listen, in the UFC, there is no second place trophy. There is. It's called the interim championship belt.
Sure.
That's what it is. You're not a champion. I think it's the dumbest thing in the world. I think I really do. I think it is. But here's the thing. I don't give a shit to that point. Go ahead and have it. I don't think it should, but I don't give a shit. I think generally, okay, just to backtrack, Pena, I hope she saw the success of her jab because I was literally yelling, she's beating her before she can throw her first punch. Exactly. The jab, stick, which would throw off her momentum. Because, listen, Amanda's not known for being technical like Israel Adesanya, Shevchenko. She's not known.
No.
She's known to brawl and just being so strong.
Yeah.
Just being able to knock them out early. And listen, it works. Yeah. They're like, it works. Whoever says that can't work, it can work. Listen what happened.
I mean, look at Amanda.
But look what happens when you meet somebody where that doesn't affect them to that extent.
Yep.
And can actually say, fuck you, I'm going to stand in a pocket, I'm going to beat you before you throw that punch, I'm going to throw my jab. Listen, let alone when she's not throwing her jab, or was throwing her jab, she was beating the last one out. If you focused on the fight, she was throwing her jab, and on the end of the exchange, she was the last one to land her fucking strike.
Yeah.
And that's what throwing with Amanda off. Say, hold on, there's a girl who's not sitting down on my punches, who's beating me to my punches, throwing my momentum off.
It was beating me on my way out.
Exactly.
So it's
now we got to see how Amanda where she sits now. Well, are you still in the fight game? Are you still in the fight game?
Yeah.
Or are you not?
Yep.
Because there's no question that she can beat her. We all know she can beat her because 2 knockdowns proves it. Okay, it's whether can you not weather the storm for 5 rounds and win it, because this may not end up in a knockout. Because if you look at Pena, she was fucking just swollen out the ass.
Yeah.
And you look at Amanda, barely anything, you know?
Yeah.
But that's how you know it's mostly cardio.
Yeah.
Not a knock on Pena. Pena is a warrior to take those punches.
She won, right?
And I think she's absolutely deserving of that position.
Now, here's the thing, right? Is we see this happen sometimes, and I've referenced this fight to you for so many years.
Don't fucking do it. Don't bring Anderson Silva in.
Come on, no. We're talking Matt Serra GSP1.
Oh.
Right? Who in their right mind is going to tell you that Matt Serra is better than GSP?
I know, right, dude?
Right? It doesn't happen.
Yeah,
but he beat him.
There's upsets in this world, in his division, and that was an upset.
Right? And
there's stuff that everyone's gonna remember.
Now it's Pena's job
to hold on to.
She's not Serra.
Exactly.
Right?
To prove that she's not a one-time winner.
Exactly.
This is the biggest. This is why you don't get rematches when you just get the title usually, because for that reason.
That's it. Yeah.
You defend it goes to show you are well deserving of it. Yep. You're gonna get a second chance.
Now whoever Charles fights next, depending on how he loses.
No, we all know who Charles is fighting.
Who do you think?
Gaethje. It's Gaethje.
See, I don't know.
No. If you think Gaethje's not gonna get it,
okay,
he's getting it.
I hope for that reason, right? But you have Benelli. I probably butchered that last name.
Who?
Dariush.
Oh, God.
Versus Islam Makhachev.
Doesn't deserve a fight.
Why?
Islam doesn't. No.
What?
No. Listen, I like Islam. I think he's great. I think he is more. I think he needs to be taken a lot more serious than what people think he is. But is he willing? Is he deserving of a title shot? No.
Okay, listen.
No. Wait. No.
Oh man, dude, I think you're absolutely
no
insane.
way. No, listen. I understand what you're saying. I saw his last fight. It's it's clear he needs to be in the talks, but he's not next to the title shot.
Here's the thing, right? Is how do I say this without sounding retarded? But okay, so you're looking at Islam, right? And Dariush was supposed to be the backup for this last fight. If somebody pulled out, Dariush was going to step in. So if you've got him at number 2, I mean, I guess you have Gaethje at 1 because he just beat Chandler. But now Chandler has 2 losses in the UFC.
Yeah. But it doesn't matter who your backup is and who you're fighting because it deserves you the title.
You're right.
Because at the same time, Chandler came in for the backup for Khabib and Dustin. Does that mean he deserved it? A lot of people don't think he doesn't deserve it. But he did.
He got the fight right after.
Well, yeah, with who? Michael Chandler never. Because Khabib. Yeah, but he doesn't deserve for the title shot. No, the past 2 fights have shown that he does not.
Yeah, but okay. So what's his last loss? We're talking Chandler now, right? Or are we talking Islam again?
No, we're talking Chandler.
Okay, so Chandler
lost to Oliveira.
He lost to Oliveira, who is the champion. It was for the championship.
Okay,
and then he lost to Gaethje, who is.
But at the time, it wasn't Chandler. Is what I'm saying. It was Khabib.
Who was?
When Chandler was the backup to the Dustin and Khabib fight, he was, and a lot of people say he is not fight or Gaethje. No, it was. Oh, it was it was Gaethje Khabib. Yeah, it was Dustin before then. Yeah. Is a lot of people say, fuck it, bro. This guy does not deserve it. And Dustin was on that way. Gaethje as well. None of them think he deserves. And I agree with him. He does not deserve to fight Khabib. He hasn't earned a spot here. And obviously, we can never find out because Khabib retired. Obviously, after that night. Listen, at the end of the day, he did not deserve it. Okay. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is just because you're a backup fighter doesn't mean that you deserve. You know what I mean?
I'll agree with you. I'll change my standpoint on that. All right. But who has Gaethje beat? Right, you're talking Chandler, right? That's the only person he's beat since his Khabib fight.
Tony Ferguson. In a war, mind you, in a fucking war.
Yep. You did remind me of that one. Listen, I hope Gaethje gets the fight. I really do.
He deserves a fight.
He deserves it.
We know the statement. If Gaethje doesn't get the next, we riot.
We riot, right? Yeah. All right. I'll give you Gaethje.
He's getting it without a doubt. Because here's why. Who do you think Islam deserves the next title shot?
After Gaethje, it's Islam. If he can get past Dariush, Islam gets the next title shot.
Well, let's think here. We got Dustin who lost. The rematch between Dustin and Gaethje is very possible if Gaethje loses because Gaethje doesn't like Dustin and he owes him one bag.
Not going to happen.
What, Gaethje and Dustin? Why?
Not going to happen. Listen, from what I'm hearing from my inside sources, I'm just kidding. But listen to the podcast, he's going to fight at 170. He doesn't want to cut.
Oh, Dustin?
Poirier, yeah.
Yeah, no, I get it. He doesn't think he can make the cut again.
And you know who he called out?
Conor McGregor.
Nate Diaz.
Oh, Nate Diaz. Yeah, that's right. They got them fighting. Yeah, no. But we're not talking. Yeah, but at the time, we're not. That's in January. They're projected January. They're going to fight, which is nice.
Who?
But Nate Diaz and Dustin Poirier. Because yes.
That's too soon.
No. Because remember, Dustin said, I'll fight you this month. And that cleared it. Remember, no, they're fighting in January. Trust me. It's marketed January. I can guarantee you. It's either January or February. Trust me. But regardless of the situation, is by the time Gaethje and Charles fight, they have to wait a couple months and then they can fight. Therefore, Gaethje and Dustin is a talk still, and they don't like each other. Now, I think Dustin will fight Gaethje, but not for the belt, not for anything, but just to fight him.
Here's a fight to make, right? If Dustin can move up to 170 and beat Nate, right? Which it's tough because. Listen, nobody will sit here and tell you that Nate Diaz is a bad fighter, right? Listen, I think he beat Edwards in that last fight. We watched it. We watched that fight together.
First of all, didn't beat him.
I said he was out. No, he didn't beat him. Listen, we're talking again on paper.
Yeah, didn't beat him.
Leon was out.
Listen, exactly. Okay. Listen, at the end of the day,
that's a fight. That's how it happens.
I think Nate and Dustin is a great fight. I think Nate
it's a money fight.
I think Nate's in the fights for money. I don't think. Listen, talk about a guy that I generally wish was a little smarter in the game. And how to market himself, could have been champion 100%.
Who, Nate?
Nate.
He could have.
I think he really did himself a disservice thinking that he is. He plays I'm better. I'm not getting the shot. Why am I not getting the shot? You guys suck for not doing that.
Early in his career, he rode the coattails of older brother too much, and then later in the career, he realizes that he's bigger.
Exactly.
right?
I understand. Whether he admits it or not, that's how it played out.
That's how it played out.
No matter what, listen, I'm not saying he did that purposely. He thinks he's getting better. Yeah. You're 100%. History shows us that he obviously rode under the shadow of Nick Diaz. Nick Diaz gets banned from the UFC for a while, suspended. Nate goes on to be a fucking superstar.
Yeah.
Okay. Realizes I'm bigger than my brother. And Nick's got to know that. And I believe in the interviews that how do you feel that Nate turns to be a bigger superstar? He goes, I feel like I have to match him one up. I think that's along the lines he said. Now I think
we're gonna talk about that next. Nick
Listen, I don't think Nate is possible to be a champion anymore. I think he's got a few more fights and he's out. Well, this is his last fight. I think he renewed his contract. I believe.
No, he has not. He has not. They're still in talks. So he has one fight left.
On his I generally think he.
I don't think
maybe it's his last fight. They figured out.
This is his last fight. He has one fight left, and I think it's got to be Poirier. Right? I think it's got to be Poirier at 170. If Nate beats Poirier, where does that put Poirier? I puts him in a weird spot because he's still a top 155 contender.
Nate won't beat Poirier.
No, I don't think he does. No, I don't think he does either.
No, I don't think he will. Here's why.
It's tough, but if he does, it puts him in a weird spot. Okay,
100. I think you're 100%. If Nate, which I don't think
loses,
but there is a possibility if Nate loses, or if Dustin loses, you are right. Where does that? He's got some thinking to do.
Yeah, if Poirier wins, it puts him right in line for 170.
100%.
Then there's so many fights.
There's eyes on him. I mean, listen, you got Conor at 170. There's a trilogy. There's a quadrilogy, I guess. Fight. Say what you want, but a lot of people want to see it. I don't think we need to see it. I think we figured it out. I think Dustin is but it probably will happen. You have that option there, and at the same time, Dustin might be a demon at 170. Well,
listen, I'll tell you. After Colby Jorge. Listen, if Colby can beat Jorge,
bro,
it's gotta be Colby, Dustin.
100%. They don't like each other. They don't. They've already talked shit. The money fight
American
is there.
Top team.
Let's fucking
Colby,
go.
Right?
Yes, dude.
And listen, it was said in the last fight, because last month's card was Colby Usman. If Usman's not alive, Colby's champion.
100%.
Nobody beats
It's just they're just living in the same time where Usman is just at the same time, the same division, just demon.
It's centimeters better. This isn't like
no. This is not a clear distance. We're talking to a guy who literally both fights went all 5 rounds essentially. I know. So
TKO
in the 5th round. I get it. Yes, but still 5th round goes all 5 rounds.
Yeah.
No, like what, dude? Yep. And listen.
And you watched how he just starched Masvidal. Starched him.
But that's a common thing. Hold on. While you take a sip, you can talk to the whoever But I'm gonna take a piss.
Yeah, and then we're gonna switch because I gotta go now too. Damn, leaving me all alone in the room again here, looking at all these damn posters on the wall. I can't tell if that's Mac Miller. I'm pretty sure there's the Mac Miller picture over here in the corner behind the Christmas tree. But yeah, I mean, if we continue, just with the UFC conversation, because this is what me and John talk a lot about here. It's tough to project fights, but I think the UFC has moved on from just title fights, right? I think we've come to a point in the UFC where we can now make money fights, and that's okay, right? I mean, we watched a BMF title headline a card, right? We watched Conor Poirier headline 2 cards this year that weren't title fights. Yeah, there was titles underneath of them being fought for, but we can now make money fights, and nobody's saying anything otherwise. So I think that's a good point to make here, because when you're talking about people like Nate Diaz or Nick Diaz or Poirier, where he may not be the champion, but he's a star. I mean, listen, I'm buying the fights if they're on it. I don't care who it is. So, moving forward, I think with the UFC, they gotta be able to find out what draws people in and who the big stars are. And obviously they know who we want to see fight. They know who we want to see, get in octagon here and duke it out. But, Who knows? What's up?
You got this?
Yeah. Let me bounce out here.
And then all the way down.
All right.
It's all good. Oh, hi, Bobby. Coda, stay back. That's the doggo. There you go. First order. Wow. Wow. A lot to talk about. Listen. The upset that was... Listen, there's times where you can be present in an upset in a UFC fight. Where an upset is like you don't expect someone to win. It's just clear cut. We all know who's going to win. We just give no... Really, like, we don't give a shot to the opponent. And those are rare to be, like, to those who were live for that, we'll never forget that. And I was happy I could even watch it live on fucking pay-per-view, you know? It's just, it's crazy to be a part of that, you know? That way, you know, I will always cherish that moment, you know? But an upset like that, you know, if you didn't watch it live on pay-per-view, you are just my God, dude. Just my fucking God. You guys have no idea, like, the faces I was making and everything, bro. Just absolutely crazy. He following you? He following you?
Yeah, it's all good, though. I love dogs.
All right, so I'm thinking, listen, now that we got Amanda and Pena out the way, Dustin and Charles.
That's already happened. Oh, we're talking. All right, yeah. So I was saying, kind of to your viewers here, listeners, whatever you call them, that, you know, the UFC, before we talk about the fight, the UFC has kind of moved on from just championship fights.
Oh, without a doubt.
Right? You know, back in the day, it was there always had to be a championship fight, or you know, you did watch a couple.
There's
fights,
money fights,
right?
Now.
But that's it. There's money fights.
Yep.
It's about what draw, right? I mean, listen, we've saw 2 cards headlines with no championship, right? You're talking Dustin and McGregor. They headlined the card with no championship on the line. You know what I mean? So they definitely moved on. So, you know, when we discuss fights now, we don't just have to talk about title contentions or you know,
money fights.
We could talk money fights.
Yep.
What do people want to see? You know, so, you know, all right, now we can kind of get into the Dustin and Poirier, or excuse me, Dustin and Charles fight. Listen, Dustin thought he had it won in the first round.
I thought he was winning. I had Dustin winning this fight.
I had him winning the first round. Second round.
Listen, there's no disrespect to Charles at all. Yeah. Charles obviously deserves to be there and prove that even more after this fight.
Yeah, of course.
But Dustin sat him down twice.
Twice.
Now, I was more upset at that fight than the Amanda Pena because, you know, we know Amanda's stuck on the ground when she should.
Sure.
I don't fucking know why Dustin even gave a second thought. Like, there was a moment where he said, do I want to go on the ground? Like, in the first when he signed up, I'm like, no, get the fuck, let him get up.
Let him get up.
This is where you win.
Yeah.
And, you know, just moments like that, seconds like that can change your fight. Like, listen, there is no doubt that, champion or not, Dustin will go down in the Hall of Fame.
Sure.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
I genuinely, like, my heart is sore for Dustin.
It is. Yeah.
Twice got close. Yeah. This one even closer than ever. Yeah. Will we see him a third time in that division? We don't know.
Nah,
we'll wait.
Yeah.
You never know. I think 170 is where he's at. Yep. I think he performs good at 170. Not saying he doesn't perform good at the previous division, which is 155. I generally think that he needs to, you know, really compose himself, take some time off, spend some time with the family.
Of course.
And really just try to figure out why he gets stuck in these situations where one thing I noticed with Dustin is he needs to be throwing. He gets in these moments where he brawls. Like, he even said it, like, he just brawls. And he may be talking about a different brawl where he stays in the pocket too much. I'm talking about where he doesn't utilize his kicks enough, where he doesn't use his elbows enough. You know, he uses kicks great on Conor. Yeah. I don't know why you don't take that approach with Charles. Slow him down. Yeah, because we've seen Charles a multi, like just tools available in his arsenal. Like, talk about Muay Thai at the end of the day. what he brought to the table on the Dustin fight was elbows, kicks, knees, clinch work, right? Grappling, and just like prove like I'm fucking here, and wherever you think you can fight, I can fight.
So I listen to a lot of podcasts, holy crap, or even watch videos on YouTube, but Chael Sonnen, you know, he says it best, especially when you're like looking at fights and when you're going to place bets, is who has more ways to win.
Oh, right? Is that what he said? I didn't watch it.
So he kind of looks at that, and not to say that it always works out in your favor.
No, it doesn't, because you look at it like Khabib has one way to win. He doesn't win by knockouts. He doesn't win by it's choke you out. It's grappling. So you could be this is what grind, this is the typical conversation me and you've had many times is can you be good at just one thing and be a champion, hold that on off that one good thing, or do you have to be really good at everything else or kind of good at everything else to hold the champion? That way you're good all around. And all it boils down to is how good you are at the craft.
Sure.
Are you like you have Khabib, who is literally only good, not saying he's not good at boxing, but we all know Khabib's going to choke you out, bring you to the cage, you know, where you can't back out, shoot his takedown,
ground and pound you,
bring you to the ground, tie up both your legs, use one arm to get to the cage to hold you up, sink that arm back, pin that one arm where you only have one arm, and just boom, back and forth till he can work his hooks in or just knock you out. You think you're back up, put one hand down, sinks you back down. You know, it's just how good you are at your craft. Well, there's no reason why Dustin shouldn't have been able to throw knees, legs, because he's shown he can do it and he's great at it. He just got stuck in the brawl, like he said, and I just, that's what hurts my heart.
Well, you know, you watched the
and you even proved it. You even said it. You know what you're good at and what you're so used to. Sometimes subconsciously, you're gonna go right back there. Everybody has a plan till they get punched, and usually it's what you're really, it's what you know.
And I think, especially in that fight, right, like. First round, he goes to his corner and in his head, and you know he's even said it. Listen, I'm the champion after this.
Yeah, dude. I thought he. You know, I literally said, "Oh, he's got this in the bag."
You know, after the second round, I think everybody had doubts when he laid on his back the entire round.
Well, it goes to show how much fun. There was not even just respect that he had of Charles ground game. It was his fear.
Yeah, fear.
That's not just respect.
But that's it.
That's fear. And listen, I don't blame him. I don't blame him. I don't think I would.
But to what point? And listen, maybe if it was the fourth round this happened, it's different. Or even fifth rounds, like, hey man, Charles is just gonna hold me here and win the fight.
Let me just ride it out.
You know what I mean?
Hopefully, okay. So you're right. Early on in a fight, early on in a fight, you're thinking a little
different. Like, okay, I won the first round for sure. I sat him down
that's
twice.
That's what he thought. He thought he was like, I'll lose the second round. I don't care. I'll come back third and let me
get back to the third.
And he's right. Listen, Dustin is known for being in these fucking wars. Just 5 rounds. Charles hasn't been there yet, man. I'm sorry. But, you know, say what you want about Trump, but Charles has not been in those kind of wars that Dustin's been in. And Dustin was hoping to bring into these deep waters. But there's times where a guy like that doesn't give a shit what you've been in. He's gonna bring you.
It's unfair for us to say that just because, like, Charles' career trajectory is a lot different than most champions, right? I mean, you look at these champions, and usually here recently, it's a lot of people that have just win, they get to the championship, and then they hold it for them. I mean, look at our champions now, other than 155, but before then it was Khabib, who was the champion. He defended a couple times, and he never lost, right? You're looking at Israel Adesanya, who, how many times has he defended it now? 4 or 5? He's about to defend it against the only person that really even had a chance, I think, is Robert Whittaker, who was a great champion himself. Then you got Usman, who has just beat everybody and is now going back and beating everybody again. So you have these champions, you can't really go light heavyweight, because you got, Glover, who I think Teixeira is more like a Charles Oliveira sense in all the ups and downs and roller coaster of their careers that have really now that they're champion, it like really puts a perspective to where they're at. You know what I mean?
And how much they've grown. It's their story arc.
And different, right? So
that's what I think, a lot of people think, like, I have this conversation a lot. So who do you think the greatest fighter is? And I always say, like, one person I think one of the greatest fighters is Conor, despite what you think. But, he's not champion like that. And to me, a champion isn't a person who holds a title or the greatest fighter. Muhammad Ali is a great example. Muhammad Ali is not nowhere it's some people like he should not like his stats are nowhere compared to some of the other greats out there. But it's his style of fighting, his impact he had on the world, how much change, how many views he brought. Sure. Conor's in that mix, in my opinion. So I understand what you're saying. Is so the champion who's gone through hard times, the champion doesn't have to be a person who doesn't lose. Sometimes, in my opinion, the champion needs to lose. Because that's where that's where you figure out what you're made out of. Yeah, you know.
Agreed.
So I can understand what you're thinking. It adds more value.
If we're talking greatest of all times, right? You have to take in what's the criteria, right? And this is what I have to ask people, because if we're talking, hey, it's just fighting, right? I mean, how can you go against someone like, the Spider, Anderson Silva?
Yeah. No, if we're talking stats wise,
GSP.
Yeah.
How do you go against somebody, John Jones?
Yeah.
How do you go against these people, right? But if you're talking overall what they've brought to the sport, right? How do you count Ronda Rousey out? Yeah, we talked about her so many times. She's a one-trick pony.
Yeah.
She fought a boxer and got beat, but you didn't watch women fighting before Ronda Rousey.
Ronda put women's division on the map.
You didn't watch
on the map.
You don't watch women fighting without Ronda Rousey.
It's basically what you're basing your criteria off of.
What's your criteria?
Exactly.
Right? People watch fighting. Listen, I'm a UFC guy, right? I've watched UFC since the Forrest Bonner fight, right? Like that was really when it most people that are true fans and that are old enough, because I know some people aren't even old enough, right? Are old enough to remember that fight, and that's really what put UFC on the map. So, if you count those contributions to the game.
The whole change up in options for who's the greatest fighter,
right? It
shows,
changes, right?
Because there's a lot of people, I generally mean it when I say like Conor's one of the greatest fighters, who can be honestly, arguably the greatest fighter. Because let alone does Conor not just change a men's division that's already popular, he changes the game,
right? And
the game, like the first UFC fighter to actually say, I'm actually going to cross over to boxing.
But okay, so let's count the boxing out, because
you have to. That's Conor. Right? That's his story.
Okay, but I think what Conor brings to the game is what we just talked about. When you were using the restroom, and I kind of brought it back up, is money fights.
Yeah.
Before Conor, there's no money fights.
No money fights.
Right? There's not just
changed the game. He changed the game. He goes to show you a lot. People are like, oh my god. Listen, Conor knows his value in the UFC, and he'll tell you fucking all the time. Yeah. He says somebody in one of his older interviews, he goes, how do you feel like people say have FU money? He goes, I do have fuck you money. Yeah. I do have fuck you money.
Oh man, Joe Rogan's take on FU money is hilarious.
What is it?
It's one of those like, some people talk about like saving money, and when you're rich, why do you drive a Lamborghini? It's like, well, it's my responsibility to. Who the fuck wants to become rich if you don't drive a Lamborghini?
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean? So he's like, yeah, I mean, you have to use the FU money. You have like a what is that when you
an allowance
owe it to
like,
people? When you kind of owe it to people to drive a Lamborghini if you're rich. You know what I mean? Like
a duty, like
a duty. That's it. You have a duty to almost spend your money that way, because it's like, yeah, fuck you. You know what I mean? I have it, right? Yeah. So I love that take. But Conor has that, and he has that fuck you money.
He has big time, the biggest in the sport.
But some people will tell you that that's why he's not as good as a fighter as he used to be.
Yeah,
a lot. That's very to win.
Exactly. But here's the same time, like you said, everybody's gonna, no matter what, you're never gonna stay on top.
Sure.
You're always gonna come down. It's how long. It's whatever reason is money, age, and mentality. Honestly, at the end of the day, he don't fucking care. No, because let me tell you what, he has one of the greatest story arcs in the world. Yeah. A guy from Ireland, right, who lived off welfare, sure. May not be the poorest like Charles Oliveira, but still, comes up in a UFC superstar off the gate, starching people, bro. Starching.
I mean, and he didn't just
he paid his dues. Like, you can't say the guy got an immediate match, like he got it easy in the fight in the game. He did not.
Right? We were just talking about O'Malley earlier, and like, I mean,
the next Conor McGregor.
Can you?
I promise you, the next Conor McGregor.
O'Malley, opponent. I mean, I can, because Chris Matunio. And
no, O'Malley. I guarantee O'Malley's the next Conor.
But you're talking Conor fighting champions off the rip. Fought Dustin. You know what I mean? And he starts these people. Jose Aldo is ranked number 3 in
right now. And remember, he's got to think Conor knocked me out in 6 seconds of the fight.
Yeah. And he called it, right? So, and
nobody did it like him. Nobody.
And I think, I think it's tough because when you get that fuck you money, it becomes, well, hey, fuck you. You know what I mean? Like, what do I need to really fight for?
Now, listen, I do think Conor is not like most people with fuck you money. I think he's still competitive. I still think he has that drive. It's the amount of the drive, because no matter what you say, there's a different drive when you are hungry. It is absolutely true. The guy from the bottom is a lot hungry than you are at the top. And it's your job to make sure you keep yourself in check and realize that you are not as hungry, and you got to find other ways to keep you going and other reasons to fight.
I think.
And usually the only answer to that is legacies. How much you care about your legacy.
Well, and I think, it really is with any job, right?
Without a doubt. Anything in life that you do, yeah.
If you're hungry, not necessarily like hungry to succeed, but literally hungry.
No, yeah.
If we're talking money,
we're talking hungry, like legit. I'm poor. Like I have no food right? here. Like, exactly.
It makes you work harder, and I've been
Francis Ngannou, perfect example.
Yeah.
Literally almost died so many times coming to trying to get to fucking France.
Yeah.
Like an absolute 100% a guy who is hungry. No other option. Saved his fucking money. Tried crossing over to France, could never do it. Was left quite literally to die. And just literally death on the line. I have nothing else left.
Yeah.
This is all I care about. It's either I die or I don't.
Yep.
And that's what makes...
And that's what... and that's what makes people succeed in all walks of life, is when they realize that, like, I don't care who you are. Nothing is owed to anybody.
Nobody.
Nothing is owed.
Nothing.
You're literally born to die.
Yeah. You're born alone. You're going to die alone.
You're born naked, and you might not die naked. I hope.
No, you're going to die naked.
I hope I do, because that means I'm having a good time. But, nothing is owed to anybody. So anybody who feels like something is owed to them, and listen, I can't say nobody's owed anything, right? Because that's a generalized statement. But in the mass sense, I don't owe anybody anything.
The universe doesn't owe you shit.
The universe does, exactly. The universe.
That's the overall.
That's it. Yeah. The universe does not owe you shit.
Yep.
Right? There's no reason to live your life in the sense of somebody owes me.
Yeah.
Right?
And there's a lot of people out there in the fight game who think like that, and that circles
all
back.
Walks of
and
life.
I'm telling you right now,
all walks of
that's
life.
Nate Diaz.
Well,
I undoubtedly thinks he deserves of a title shot. Thinks he's better than everybody.
Well,
I think that's his biggest downfall. I love Nate.
Okay,
it hurts my heart.
I'm going to disagree with you in this sense, because I think Nate Diaz is just smarter than what we think.
Oh, so you think he's just that's publicity?
Listen, I think that's publicity. I think.
Okay.
Listen, he turned down the Hamzat fight.
Yeah.
Because I don't think he thinks he could beat Hamzat. Right?
Yeah.
Honest to God, will he ever say that? Hell
Probably
no,
not,
he won't never say that.
No.
But he knows that his time is coming to an end here. You know, so he needs something big. Hamzat Diaz is not a big fight as money fight. It's more of a big fight as title contention.
Yeah, and he's just not there, okay, so I can see that. I can see that.
So I think he's just smarter than what we
give him out
sometimes,
to be.
Because we look at him as a stoner dude from Stockton, right? But he's smart. He's made money. He's fought Conor twice. He's fought for the BMF title against Jorge. Dude knows how to make money, right? So I just don't think he wants to fight contenders.
Yeah, we'll put him in the trilogy with Conor.
Fight. Do you? Of course.
Of course.
I think so.
If you're right mind, you're thinking money fight, there's no clearer answer than Conor and Nate Diaz trilogy.
I think it's been too long now.
No. It's always there. They still the beef on Twitter all the time.
Right,
it is there.
Right. I hear you.
You're right. People forgot.
Yeah.
All it takes is a little bit of promo, my friend, and that's all it takes.
They know what they're doing, but I think it's more.
You're talking about Conor. You don't think they can relight that fuse where Conor threw a fucking chair at a goddamn bus?
If McGregor is on the card, I don't care. It's selling out, right? But I think as far as like what we want to see, I think more people. And I could be wrong here. I'm just speaking out of my ass. But I think more people would rather see Dustin Conor versus Nate Conor. right? And I say that because
it's more current. First of all,
well, it's more current. It's more the shit that he talked after the fight.
Yeah, it's a little bit different.
Right,
yeah,
it was a little different. Plus, we didn't get
the full
conclusive ending.
Yeah, we just saw a leg broken.
Dude snapped his leg, and that was it.
Yeah.
We don't know what was going to happen. It's not fair to us. We want to see it again. We want to see who wins. Who wins, right? But now that Dustin's lost, it doesn't put Conor in a title talk.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's well, Dustin just lost to the champion, and of course I don't know if anybody's, kept up with stats or anything, and but there's a lot of talk like, oh, Oliveira beat Poirier faster than Khabib did.
Yeah, I know.
Listen,
yeah.
I like Khabib. I think he's one of the greatest. I don't think he's top 5. Okay.
I think there's more value to that than people understand. What you just said is, if you look at how many times he's held the title, it is nowhere compared to some of these other people who have.
Khabib has only fought 14 UFC fights.
And how many has he
15,
defended?
Right? It might be 15. I think it's 6.
Barely anything.
Maybe 5.
We're talking about Israel Adesanya is more holds a statement the best fighter.
We're talking.
It's people just confuse dominating.
Yes.
Over the best.
Yeah.
He's the most dominated fighter. Like, who can hold it down? There's no other guy who is good at one craft that can do better than Khabib. Who knows? Once you're on the ground, you're 99% stuck there.
Yeah.
There's only one guy. He's the most dominating fighter we've ever seen. Nobody else.
Sure. But I don't think he's done it enough.
Exactly. To hold
for
that.
us to say he's the GOAT.
I don't think he is. No, I don't think he is. You got John Jones. And it makes GSP, Anderson Silva, Israel Adesanya.
Sure.
You even have right now Jan Johovic, who just lost. If he comes back and he just starts starching people, if he starts starching people, he could have a longer title. If he won that fight and went 4 more fights in, he would be just as dominating.
Wamba
I get it. Yeah.
Older,
I think that title is going to float around for a little bit.
That's it. I think that division is kind of in a bad spot.
Well, yeah, because John Jones has reigned over for a while.
What the hell happened to Dominic Reyes? I mean, he put up the hardest fight.
Yeah.
Against against John Jones, and then just lose by knockout.
I think it's mental. I think it's big mental.
Yeah, I do
mental.
Too.
I mean, it's also clear, he versus Jan Johovic, and despite if he's a champion or not, the dude can fucking punch, and the dude broke his fucking nose.
Yeah, I mean, listen,
that bitch went.
Juan can fight. Listen. When you get up to these 205s,
dude, I'm okay. I'm good. I'm checking out. I'm not.
Everybody's
I'm not trying to get punched. Francis Ngannou, bro. I'm good. I would rather get hit by a car than get hit by Ngannou.
So don't talk about heavyweights. Man, did they do Stipe wrong,
bro? By far wrong. You kidding? A guy who's held that title for that long, you're gonna do him disservice and say that he doesn't get a second? No, fuck you. You are absolutely right. Yeah, he deserves another one.
Maybe they try to do right by him, and we don't know what happened.
It wasn't crazy good. I understand, but at the end of the day, I get it. Money fights, and I get it. Listen. Is he probably gonna win against Ngannou? No, probably not.
Who, Stipe?
Yeah.
I mean, he beat him once,
bro. I'm sorry. Look here. Let's say this thing. Ngannou's only gotten better.
Yeah.
Far better than Stipe's gotten. Just because the gap. When Stipe fought him the first time, the gap was so big.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't adequate. He was brawling. His cardio wasn't. All those are on check, and now he's only getting better. The knockout he just gave Stipe, people don't give it enough credit to Stipe. I understand. I'm okay with Stipe not fighting right now because I am scared the damage he took from Ngannou.
Okay, so I agree most of your points there, right? Actually, I'll say agree to all of them, but I'm going to tell you it doesn't fucking matter, right? Your points don't fucking matter. When you're talking about the GOAT. Dude beat Daniel Cormier twice.
I know.
He's defended the belt 6
I'm not saying he doesn't. I clearly agree.
You have to give it to him.
I'm saying you give it to him, but I understand why they don't give it to him.
I mean, do we know what's going to happen? Probably.
Yeah,
I mean, we don't really
Ngannou's
know. Listen, Ngannou lost to Derek Lewis. You know what I mean?
Let's relax.
Okay.
Do you think Derek Lewis is going to beat Ngannou right now?
Well, I mean, he's not gonna. He doesn't have a chance because he just lost a game.
Yeah,
right.
And Gane, you asshole.
I thought it was Cyril Gane. Nope, my bad, man. But so yeah, I mean, and then that fight's coming up in January, so we'll see. Derek Lewis is fighting this month, so we'll see what he does. But it's one of those the heavyweight division, I think, is in a weird spot too. Ngannou's a great champion, but I just don't feel like he's beaten people to get there. Yes, he beat Stipe, right?
Well, that's what kind of, you're right. No, that's what kind of happens when you're kind of that strong.
Yeah.
Honestly, is like you start starching, dude. You kind of get to skip a few people because like you start assuming that he's going to starch everybody else.
So now you got a boxer.
Well, here's the beautiful thing now. Here's the beautiful thing now. He's champion. So the only other people he has to verse is everybody else.
Is everybody else.
So now you're about to figure out if he's worthy of saying
now we're about to see. 205 division, I'm not even interested in. I mean, that's one of those divisions that I'm sorry, there's nobody.
I agree.
Israel Adesanya's division. I mean, after Whitaker, you got Brunson fighting Cannonier again, I think, or maybe
I have no idea.
I can't remember. Brunson's fighting somebody soon, but I mean, after he fights, Whitaker again, where does he go? He can't go back up to 205. He lost to Blachowicz.
There's a lot of potential fights here, man.
We'll
just have to wait. Right after this year, we're gonna have to figure out what lines up.
That's it, and that's. I think it's almost a good thing for us to have these questions of what's next for some of these really dominant champions, because it almost causes it to be a money fight.
Yep.
I mean, listen, I would. As much as I would not really watch it, I mean, I would buy it, obviously, because I buy all the UFCs, but it's who the hell wants to see Masvidal and Usman again?
I get it. No, right? I get it. You got to climb it.
Starched them.
Yeah. It's just clear. 2 fights after that, you lost both. That's it. You got to have to work your way up if you really that good.
I think Colby beats
Masvidal.
Yeah, I
can see that. I think after that fight, that second fight, I think that holds more value.
Yeah. I mean, and then the biggest fight coming up for Usman is going to be Khamzat.
Yeah. I think that's the only, because that's the what if. We don't know.
Well, that's it. Yeah. That's that's the only person he hasn't beaten. Does Usman retire before he has to fight him?
No, I think he actually moves up the division.
He's not going to do that. He's already said he won't.
No. He said no. He said he will move up a division regardless if he fights Izzy or not. He won't fight Izzy, obviously.
He won't fight Izzy.
But he can still go to the division and fight and not fight Izzy. Trust me.
And
Izzy seems like I give it 2 more fights before Izzy really commits to moving up.
I think if he beats Whitaker, it's more of a conversation of, does Izzy move up and be serious about it, right? And take a fight. Maybe he takes a fight like a Dominic Reyes. Or maybe he takes a fight with
no, you're right.
Another Juan Blachowicz to get back into the title contention.
Possibilities are there,
right?
Possibilities are there.
So if that happens,
I can tell you, 2022 is going to be good.
Does Adesanya vacate the belt though? Does he vacate the belt for his buddy to be a champ?
You never know. Depends how good he is when he moves up.
I think that he doesn't. I think and Usman has said this. It's more important for him
to have more Africans holding the belt. I get it. No, I get it 100%.
And they're not even African Americans. They're Africans.
No, they're legit.
From Nigeria
they're legit. No, they're not. They're not kidding. Yeah,
so it's more important for him to have 3 people from that part of the world.
But let's make something clear here. Is he's talked about moving to that division more since making that statement, and that goes to show there's more of a thought in there. So, and that's kind of
too big to move down. He's too big to move down.
Way too big. Way too big. No.
I don't think
he's huge.
He's huge.
He's fucking huge.
Big fucking guy. But I think Usman. I mean, after this fight, I think he's going to get one more fight in the 170. But who is it? Right? I'll tell you who it is. It's going to be Leon Edwards. Probably it'll be Edwards versus Usman. I think if Usman wins that fight, he's done. I really do. I think he's made enough money to have a big name to go into broadcasting, to do a podcast, to do those things. Maybe we get a fight at 185 just to see how he feels, but I don't see it happening. I think Usman has talked too much about like Habib and how he did it in GSP.
Yeah, to know that he will go out like that. Yeah,
he wants to go out 100%, on top,
rightfully.
Right. So I think he beats Leon if he beats Leon,
and then we'll see what happens after that.
And then I think he retires, and then. Honestly, I think Khamzat runs that division. I am a huge Khamzat fan. I think, we're talking, if we're talking Khamzat versus O'Malley, not obviously in a fight, but as in hype, Khamzat had 4 fights before he was ranked. O'Malley did not get that same respect, right? So who is the UFC really trying to push?
I get it.
Khamzat has had so many fights in this, this year. He even had COVID, came back and dominated. Like,
well, you got to understand at the same time, he also gave UFC a hard time because he said he would come back. He said he was retired. He said he was no longer. Well, I mean, and also, Hamza, hold on, you got to understand what he's saying right now. He's saying right now that he's not going to be here for much longer. He's only got a few more fights. He literally said that.
I never heard him say that.
He said, I'll try to link it to you. Yeah.
Did he? Okay.
So there goes to show some concern there for you as well.
I mean, I don't know. O'Malley's a young kid. You know, I mean, I think, he's 23, 24 years old.
He's 26.
26. Yeah, okay. You're right. So, you know, obviously it's nice to have those young guys coming up, but O'Malley has a lot of growing to do. You don't really hit your prime till 30. Yeah. You know, and your peak knowledge, your peak, you know, you peak in the 30s. So he has a lot of growing to do, and if he can get to the title and win the title and kind of hold it for a couple years, I mean, O'Malley's going to have a long run.
I think so too. On that note,
all right.
We're wrapping up here. Yeah. I told you we can go on forever. No, listen, definitely. I just got other work. But listen, man, we're gonna do this more often, definitely, because this is a good flow that I genuinely like, and because of this, there's not a lot of people who can flow like that. You know, I'm not talking shit, but it's just like it's something good. I like to have a podcast where I can, like, you know, I bring people on that specify like in certain areas that I kind of want to learn. Yeah. But then there's people I just want to chit chat and shoot the shit with.
Well, that's it. I mean, I think we can literally just talk about anything.
Anything.
I mean, if your viewers want to hear anything,
we'll keep it. I don't give a fuck. Regardless, it's happening.
I mean, you know, listen, shout us out and let us know. I'm
sure. I'll definitely send you some clips and we can do some.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely. We'll even get some streams in.
Me,
of course, bro. We'll keep it going. Trust me, this is not a one-time thing.
I hope not.
No, it's definitely
not. It's been 2 years tonight. This is my first time on, so you know, I mean, I felt left out of the loop here, but
no, it's good. It's good.
Kidding, so.
All right, guys. On that note, everybody have a good night. Gary and I will be back on UFC